All right. Okay, so we are recording. We are in our third session. Yay, we survived two. We are not on the train anymore. We did
We've
it.
been released from the train.
Yeah, where we're at right now is kind of like in the games or Carnival Phantasm where you just have like the Taiga Dojo or the CL classroom or whatever. I'm just dumping tokens into the LMLY classroom because it's a map I'm not using and feels about on theme. Just to put something up on the screen while I do a recap. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and recap what we're doing in case anybody wanders in for the first time with this video recording, because we're recording and posting them to YouTube now.
Ooh.
So yeah, this is gonna be and continues to be a Type Moon inspired Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game. We are playing in an urban fantasy setting based on essentially the Fate franchise with some other elements from the Nasuverse Type Moon canon mixed in. This game is set in the year 2005, which is 1 year after the events of Fate Stay Night. But in our version of things, the Fate Stay Night, it's not any of the three branches for that, and you don't really know what happened in that part of the world at that point in time. You just know it didn't go so well. It's not really your problem. You're in Europe, because we're in Germany, and that's in Japan. So, not really your issue right now. May or may not matter more later. Uh, our party, who we are following because this does matter to us, are Anise, our half elf, who is currently um, on her way to deliver a special potion that she made for one of her customers as she creates potions. She is a druid based out of London, and she's got a potion to deliver to one of her clients who didn't seem to be doing so well and probably needs this thing to live, but based on the stuff in the potion, it's definitely not meant for human, elf, half elf, any of that kind of consumption. So there's a little bit of mystery, and you're delivering it in person just to see what's up with that. You got on a train to get to an area near where this is all going on in Germany, and on the train, Annis met Penelope, a halfling bard who seems to really enjoy buying everything on the menu and harassing the waiters and having a fun time because Bard. And the two of you became friends. And in the process of becoming friends, you also noticed that you were sort of being spied on by someone who was later identified as being part of a harvester organization, which is a group of people who uh, they seem to be loosely organized, but their overall goal seems to be hunting down supernatural things, phantasmal species, to use the canon term, like the two of you, for their parts to be used in presumably magecraft or other kind of stuff. That's weird. It's gross. Nobody likes them. They're freaky. Um, that guy, it turned out, his name was Leopold. He was on the train because he wanted to track down someone unrelated to the both of you, known as Kwaku, the code spinner. He is apparently descended from Japanese spider demons, so that's cool. And he was holed up in the back of the train with a bunch of spiders sort of blocking the door. Some shenanigans ensue. The two of you ended up allying with him over Leopold. Over the course of a few train stops, some of the other people from Leopold's group joined up with him, but ineffectively, since at the very beginning of combat, when you actually went to confront them, their enchanter reinforcement was immediately enchanted. Comedy ensues, and Leopold proceeded to get sat on by a giant silk golem and have all of his stuff taken, and a lot of phone trolling ensued. You dropped them both off at the next train stop where their other reinforcements were confused and angry at them, and now you're on your way because it turns out Kwaku is also on his way to the same general location that Anise is going to. So, considering you're allies now, makes sense to sort of continue on that way on your own. There were a bunch more details. If anyone is listening in and wants to know what all happened for real as it all played out, then, like I said, we've got the stuff on YouTube now. If you're watching it on Twitch, there's a link to the YouTube channel in there. I want to create a vanity short URL so that you can actually just get to it easily, but you can't do that until YouTube decides you're important enough. So For now, you'll have to take the link from Twitch, but we'll see if we get there. I think that about sums everything up. Some general Type Moon background to fill in people who aren't familiar with it but have just wandered in. We're doing a variation on the setting, so like we do still have elves, half-elves, dwarves, halflings, all that kind of stuff around. They're just in hiding. It's not an ideal world to be a non-human in, since humanity has sort of taken charge of everything following the end of the Age of Gods, about the time Gilgamesh made his debut for people who are familiar with the canon. So if you're not a human, your life pretty much sucks, or you become powerful enough that the humans and the Mages Association and the church decide you're either not worth the trouble, or you're more useful not hunted down and made an example of. So yeah, that's the cheerful world we live in now. So did I miss anything exciting? Anything fun you want to mention?
Not really.
No.
All right.
I mean, I stole all the shit from Leopold, which was funny.
That's true. Yep. Leopold got off that train with no phone, no magic glasses, and no dignity. So doesn't work out so well for him. Whereas his partner became Penelope's biggest fan for at least the duration of 1 hour of concentration. Pretty much sold out his buddy, spilled a bunch of beans on their organization and how it works, and then happily walked off the train to run into the people that were supposed to be there to reinforce them, with no spells left, having wasted them all, and presumably also getting a firm talking to. You got to see this play out a little bit from the window of the train as it left, so comedy ensues.
Yeah, and then Penelope stole like 200 euros from the guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you swiped 200 euros and you left a big tip after also billing all of the food from the car to Leopold. So
And giving the gun to the waiter.
Oh, and that's true. Yeah, you gave a gun to a waiter and we're like, this is weird. I don't want this.
Could have just put it in Raps's box suitcase thing, but it's funnier that I gave it to the waiter.
Yeah, it's an interesting tip. I believe the waiter just assumes that you're all Americans now. As you do. But yeah, so you're making your way through Germany. We're not going to play through every single train stop and all of that. We're going to speed things up a little bit now that most of the action parts have been resolved. So the next stop, for our purposes, is the Bad Breisig stop, which is the one that Anise and Kwaku were both originally going to. Per the conversation last time, Penelope knows that her original destination of Cologne, where she was going to meet up with her manager, is probably not a safe place to go, since that's where this ambush for Kwaku was originally going to be. And presumably they're going to figure out what's going on once the people they just dumped at the last stop come to their senses. So you messaged ahead to your boss, or your manager, and your manager said, oh yeah, go somewhere safe and just let me know when you're safe and I'll send someone to pick you up or do it myself. So just as a recap, your manager is aware that you are supernatural and it doesn't seem to bother him. So understandable to say bad things on train, not gonna stay.
Not safe. Goodbye.
Yeah. So given that, we're just gonna fast forward a little bit. So you do reach Bad Breisig without much issue, and the area that you're in, of just to give some fun flavor to it. So Bad Breisig is somewhat small. It's more of a tourist town than anything else. There's probably 8,000 or 9,000 people there. It's right along the Rhine. It's in the valley, so it's very pretty. There's a lot of stuff on the train that you can sort of thumb over while you're waiting that gives you the idea that, it's somewhere that people go as part of a scenic journey, but it's not the biggest tourist destination. You're going there because it's the closest the train's going to get you to the place that you're actually going, which is somewhat to the west of it and more off the grid. For anyone who is like a crazy completionist, you can actually sort of figure out where they're going if you pull up a real map of Germany. But I'm not going to do that now, because if I point out to any exact place, someone's going to Google Maps it and tell me that I'm a liar. So just know it's somewhere in that area. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Fantasy. Given that, though, when you get off the train, Kwaku's going to have Raps get back in his box. So you get to see that little adventure. Just to recap how that works. Raps opens up the box in the first class car, steps into it, sinks down a little bit, and then sort of waves up as the door closes over him. You can see that it's a bit like you're both familiar with what bags of holding are. So it's like looking into one of those, it's just a big box instead of a bag. Presumably anything else that goes in there would suffocate, but it doesn't seem to bother Raps. So that's nice.
I'll wave to Raps as he descends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You would think that maybe he would just fall in like it's a pit, but he just sort of... It's more like slowly submerging in water. He just kind of floats down. But yep. As it gets to about to the end of it, you see him give you a thumbs up, kind of like the Terminator. Just as he goes down. Because thumbs up seems to be about the only communication gesture that Raps does other than smashing things and shooting web at them. So this is the good one. You got one of these before, too, when you asked whether or not he was full of spiders.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always fun. So yeah, once he's back in his box, Kwaku picks it up. Everyone gets their luggage, and you hop off. I'm not going to build a million maps for this, so we're just going to stay in the classroom for a little bit. But yeah, so once you get out there, it's kind of sunset time now. It's about 6:30 local time, which is getting pretty dark in March. So from that point, Kwaku sort of turns to the two of you and goes, well, seeing as you technically helped me, I suppose the cab fare's on me. And proceeds to hail a cab. And then for the next few hours, you actually get to enjoy like the equivalent of a rest, because you get to sit back in a cab that will eventually take you to a bus depot. And then you can hop on a bus. And that will take you off to the west. On the way, you can sort of look out the windows. You see some very pretty sights because you are getting sunset in the mountains, which is very pretty. Again, you're going a bit more off the beaten path now. As you're traveling on the bus, you notice that off to both sides you can see nature, but it's a bit different as you go through each area. Like you go through a few small towns, a few, really remote areas. You can occasionally see like a cabin or something out in the mountains, but this area seems to be largely nature, with occasional breaks for it where people are doing like quarry mining and whatnot. In fact, as you're sort of looking around on the bus, there aren't really that many people there. There's just a few. They look more like they're like, by contrast to when you were on the train before, where you had a lot of people that were like business class or tourists. Here you've got more people that are actually like working, like maybe they're going to the night shift or something. They're very much dressed for winter. One thing to note is that when you got off the train, like it was kind of cold, but not too bad. Like, I mean, it was about what you would expect for, Germany in March. Like, it's not t-shirt weather, but you're not going to freeze. But as the bus goes further west, you actually do notice that it seems to be getting colder. It's kind of weird. In fact, if either of you would like to roll nature, you can sort of determine how weird it is.
I'm gonna roll in fast. I don't think Penelope knows shit.
I think your die was drifting there.
Well.
Okay, well, you both know that it's weird that it's getting colder. Like, the sun's going down, but it's a little bit colder than you would have expected. You both hit the the 10 necessary to know that this is unusual. Like, it's not impossible, but it is weird that it's dropping at the rate that it is. But all the locals seem to not really think much of it. As you get closer to the destination, based on the address that you were given and the assumption that Kwaku knows where he's going, since he also picked up your bus fare and all of that.
What a good guy.
Well, you did help him out of a bind.
A little bit.
Which is nice. You actually resolved that better than he could have, because he would have probably had a golem squish some people and then have to deal with squished people. You
Gross.
completely resolved that without anyone actually dying. And none of you even got hurt. Not even the golem. So it was remarkably effective, all things considered. But yeah, so he's pretty much just sitting back. Like, he's thumbing through the brochures that are sitting on the bus from presumably the bus depot or whoever was there before. If any of you would like to talk about anything or do anything, you can. Otherwise, I will just describe to you stuff you find around the bus.
As soon as we're settled, Anise pulls out, I would like to retcon that I wasn't reading Beowulf, I was reading The Lord of the Rings. And by that I mean like the original one. Like
Okay.
the first draft. She's got like a first edition.
Oh,
That
okay,
has,
so
like, has all the weird shit still in it.
oh,
So she
got
pulls
it.
that out and continues to read it.
So you've got like the version that spends even more time navel gazing in the first book.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
You might have picked it up when it was new, yeah.
Not a lot of anything but books to read in Anice's village before she moved to London.
Penelope is taking out like a shawl and just kind of like wrapping it around herself because she's.
Yeah, Penelope's used to the more warm parts of Europe.
Yeah, she's not. It's like she's just like. I don't know. Does it seem like it's getting colder to you?
So,
And she just like wraps up even tighter in the shawl.
does seem to be getting a little bit colder than it should, but none of the other people on the bus seem to care, so I guess this is normal.
Maybe they're turning up the air conditioning on the bus. Is there air conditioning on this bus?
Probably. It seems weird.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I bought discounted candy hearts that I found yesterday.
Ooh.
I don't know, and I've just been showing Rumi the funny ones, and there's one that just says Yas with like 4 A's.
It's like, yeah.
Pretty great.
That's a choice. Like, that's an interesting choice to put on a candy heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey girl, hey, you know how I feel about you? Yeah.
One of them said Gal Pal.
Are you sure these things are only like a few weeks old and not from 6 years ago?
Congratulations, you brought the 2014 conversation card.
Yeah, it's sort of like how you know slang is dead when Will Smith finally says it in a movie. It's
That's
just
by
like,
September 2022. That doesn't really mean anything.
no,
It
that,
could still be a
it's
couple
still
years
chalk.
old.
Like, that doesn't really
Yeah.
expire.
One of them says DM me. I don't know.
Wow. Let's assume from what we're doing that they're talking about Dungeon Masters. It's more fun that way. So I will do my best to DM both of you for the next few hours.
Thanks.
No problem. Got your back. That trademark term.
Oh.
But yeah, at this point, looking around, since you've just got the time, you can see on the bus, they're like little signs and stuff from the company that runs the bus. It appears that the bus is actually run by the and this is written in English and in German, so you can both see it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now.
The White Rabbit Mining Company.
Mm-hmm.
And looking around, you can see a bunch of things that neither one of you has ever worked in a corporate environment, but you've both been to enough, modern places, just in public in general, to know corporate spin materials whenever you see them. Even Anise has seen her fair share of that just from being in London.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're promoting things like, exciting and profitable opportunities awaiting bold young men and women willing to put in an honest day's work in the basalt mines.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of information floating around on, like, these signs. There's like a "Did you know?" followed by, like, "Did you know? This region hosted volcanic activity in its formation." Meaning volcanoes a long time ago created the basalt that we mine today. Basalt is used for roads, building insulation, cosmetic construction, and statues. We're using the gifts of the past to build the future. By contrast, all the people that are going to work look like they really don't feel like going to work, and they are not at all the bold young men and women willing to put in an honest day of work in the basalt mines.
Penelope is reading the "Did you know" sign out loud to Anise in that exact same tone. Did you know?
Anise is doing her best to just ignore it, but she can't, so she's reread the same page about Tom Bombadil 3 times and is going slowly insane.
I mean, Tom Bombadil does that to a person. That's understandably cut from the movies. But yeah, so based on your group, where would you sit on a bus? Would you sit closer to the front where you could maybe see the driver or have them, talk back to you, or are you more sitting in the back, cool kids?
Middle, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Sounds about right.
Well, it's not hard to tell that the only one who's really talking on this entire ride is Penelope reading the corporate materials. Everyone else seems to be rolling their eyes. Some of them are listening to the relatively recent and cool hip iPod or Zune devices, depending on where they purchase their materials. So that's always fun. These are very new, by the way, so at least they're getting paid well.
I'm trying to remember. Is this back when they put the U2 album out on?
Yeah.
Everybody.
On the Generation 1 iPod.
When they were trying to get people really hyped about digital music, because why would you buy something that you can't hold? We went pretty far down the streaming hole after that. So it's kind of the fun of period pieces set 16 years ago, but also within our lives. Weird as that is to think about.
I was going to say, that's just saying out loud that this is technically a period piece.
Yeah.
Just made me die a little inside.
Wild.
Yeah. That's why fate gets weirder and weirder as we get further along.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But yeah, let's see. So as you go along and reading that out, everyone else is pretty much just ignoring you. It's the sun is actually set now, so it's getting a bit darker. One thing that you do notice, though, you're not even gonna have to make a check for this one, is that you can see stars here, really pretty stars. They, having spent so much time in cities, the two of you haven't really had a great view of stars in some time now. But you're up on a mountain, even though it is cloudy, the areas between the clouds look almost stock photo fabulous. So it's kind of inspirational in that little sense of maybe you've finally gotten away from the modern world just enough that you actually can feel a little bit more at home with your less human nature. So there's nothing cool mechanical about it. It's just a fun thing to know. Given that, you've now reached the point where the highways are behind you. You're going on the side roads. The bus is going a bit slower than it was before. It actually starts snowing. You're getting some snowflakes from those sparse clouds from before.
What is this, Vermont?
Is it mid-March, you said?
Yeah.
Guess it's not too weird for it to be snowing in March.
Snowing on a mountain in March is...
On a mountain in Germany.
It's perfectly doable. It's just a big contrast to, literally a few hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Penelope has her face now plastered to the window and is just like gaping at the snow, like,
Should they not have snow where you're from? Turn a page.
Not that often.
It is quite the sight.
Just like every now and then, just will like reach over and just like poke it in and just be like, look.
I look. Oh, that's nice. Go back to the book.
So as the bus continues onward into the snow, you eventually actually get to see, and this is a Penelope thing because Penelope's looking out the window. You see a big sign. It's it kind of reminds you of the same like look of those corporate things that you've been looking at for a little bit now, like same font, same general branding, but it looks a bit more faded and old. And it has, again, in English and in German, welcome to White Rabbit's Field. And on this sign, it's like a giant billboard type thing, like a welcome to town sign.
Right.
It's got an illustration of a man who, he's a cartoon. He's dressed up like a traditional miner with like, the hard hat that has like a bulb on it and all of that stuff. And he's holding it upside down and he's pulling a rabbit out of it like a magician. So... And then just as you get past that weird sign, you can see the area behind it is a giant quarry. It's all up on that side. This is on the left side of the bus. So you see a giant quarry, and it's got a lot of lights set up. A lot of work is going on out there. It's pretty huge. It's on the side of a mountain. A lot of big machinery. Although, like, as you're looking at it, you can see some of the lights are starting to turn off in the distance, signifying that it might be the end of the work now that it's snowing and dark.
Penelope just points out the quarry and it's like, you see that?
Oh, yes, interesting. Goes right back to the book.
All right, for clarification, really quick, are Kwaku and Raps on the bus with us?
Yeah, like Raps is in the box, but Kwaku is sitting down, sort of opposite you on the other side. So, but the box is with him. He's not leaving it in storage after his adventure on the train at this point. So, in fact, I doubt it. Like, it's up to you if any of you put your stuff in storage, but since the bus isn't very full, you could just bring it on. Not much issue. But yeah, Kwaku's just sort of looking out the other side at the trees, because you can tell from even where you're sitting. Off on the left, it's a whole bunch of quarries, a bunch of, signs. Whenever you see development, it's on the left side. When you look out on the right side, which for the direction you're going would be the north side, most of the time, give or take curves, it's not developed like at all. It's just woodland. It's a lot of trees. It's a lot of things that, it's really pretty. Like, it's almost untouched. Like, for whatever reason, people have decided not to mess with that side of the road. You don't even see power lines on it. It's just completely left as is as soon as you get to the edge of the asphalt. So I think Kwaku's just sort of enjoying sitting over there and looking out at the real nature as it snows and he can see stars in the sky.
Okay, question for you. Do you think Anise would be sitting by the window or closer to the aisle?
Anise would have probably preferred to sit by the window, but I think Penelope would have gotten there first. So she's just sitting by the aisle.
Admittedly, if it's the other way around, it's a lot funnier that you're reaching over her to point out things out the window.
Shit, that would be funny.
That would be funny.
Or if you were sitting immediately behind her like a kid who kicks the seat.
Oh no, that'd be horrible. Oh no.
No, Anise would have taken the window seat, and Penelope probably would have just, like, shoved her way into the aisle seat.
Just, like, leans over every now and then and be like, look at
I see it. Just reading.
At some point, I assume she gets bored and just, like, hops across the aisle and just, like, plops down next to Kwaku and goes, did you see it?
I did.
Okay.
Which thing did I see?
I don't know. Did you see the quarry?
Oh, yes, I saw that from this side. I've been enjoying the trees side a bit more, but the quarry is impressive. It's always interesting to watch humanity take things from the world and presumably send them somewhere else.
Well, what's going on over Treeside?
Not much, actually. I think I saw a deer.
Oh, cool.
Yes, it seems suspiciously left alone. It reminds me of some areas in other countries that have been sort of acquired for preservation. But I don't see any signs telling people to keep away. It just seems to be an unspoken thing, at least as far as I can tell. In fact, I bet I could probably find out a little bit more. And then he sort of calls up to the driver, who, you know, in a loud enough voice that pretty much everyone on the bus is going to hear him anyway, given you're sitting near the middle. So why does no one buy up and settle on the right side anyway? And the guy, like, sort of calls back in English, since, you know, he was addressed in English. Protected land. Who owns it? I don't know. All I know is that there's no gas stations, and nobody seems to want to build over there, and that it's haunted.
Yeah.
Haunted?
Anise is now interested.
Well, I mean, they say it's haunted. It's kind of hard to prove something's haunted or not, but nobody seems to mess with it.
Haunted by what?
I assume ghosts. I don't know. There's plenty of urban legends. Everything from, you know, white witches to big monsters to probably normal run-of-the-mill ghosts. It depends on whatever. Like, the mining community is known for its superstition. And honestly, I would have expected less of this from quarry miners, given it's not like they're going underground and digging into the depths of hell or running into a Balrog thingy. But for the most part, no one seems to mess with it, and we've all just sort of accepted it. There's plenty to do on the left. Why bother with the right? There's only really one business even over there, which we're actually going to be pulling up on in a moment. And that'll be our stop. So, I don't know, maybe you should ask Gunter when you get there. He might be able to tell you more.
Penelope just leans over to Anise and is just like, okay, how haunted do you think it is?
I'll just look over at the sea of trees. 50% haunted.
Give it a good 70. It looks pretty haunted.
Is this the stop coming up that we'll have to get out of at? Like the last stop for the bus line?
Yeah. Yeah, this will be the last one. Like, you could tell from just looking at the little map when you got on the bus that this bus in particular does a loop between where you got on it back, you know, near the main train stop and the area that you're going, which is the last quarry on the route. So presumably it's what people take to go out to work there, and then they take it back when they're leaving. So pretty much the only destination of note. It hasn't really made a lot of stops on the way. And yeah, Kwaku sort of leans over and goes, I hope it's haunted too. That would explain a lot.
It would.
I mean, I personally hope it's not haunted because that would not be good. But also, it would be kind of cool. I don't know.
It's also possible that the people that we're coming to visit have spread the rumor to get people to leave them alone. That would check out.
Really depends on what is haunting it.
I don't know, like, where is this place that we're going again?
Which one of them were you directing that question to?
I think that's a general.
Okay.
More of a general question, like.
Well,
No, you're taking a potion to somebody. To one of the Iron
yes.
Branch, probably.
I nodded and then realized this is an audio medium and you can't see me nodding.
Yeah, I guess we never really thought about doing video stuff. That might get more complicated, but
yeah, no, God, no.
No need.
No.
That's fair. That is fair.
I am. No.
Not a problem.
Yes,
I know that I am currently planning on getting off at where this bus will take us, settling for the night, and then heading into the woods, probably first in the morning, so that I can hopefully make my way to the castle and learn a bit more about, well, recent events.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And as Kwaku says that, you actually can see some lights up in the distance on the right. The only lights you've seen on the right for the last half hour. There's lights on the left and the right, but the ones on the right stand out just because they're the only ones. On the left, you can see a bunch of fenced-in facility places. It's clearly the area that is handling at least this area's quarry production. You see a bunch of people standing around outside near those lights where presumably the bus is going to stop. They're standing in the snow. They're huddled up a bit. They're clearly ready to go home. But on the right side, you actually see something that's a bit more interesting than that, because off in the distance, under some big lights, you see what you could best describe as a Hollywood movie's idea of a Wild West saloon.
Ooh.
And there's actually a big sign out near it that says, I'm going to butcher this, so apologies to anyone from Germany who looks at this later. Weisse Hexalon. And then under it in English, and even bigger letters than that, because clearly that's the aesthetic they're going for, and a big, cheap, comes with Windows 98 font kind of thing. A cowboy font. It says the White Witch Saloon.
I'm intrigued.
Me too.
And it's just sitting over there on the right. It looks like it's about a 2-story building. You're not that close yet, but it's definitely standing out. And about the time you can see that, the bus driver calls back. Well, everybody, it's time to get out. If you're going to work, well, sorry. Had to get you here, but not really where I think anybody wanted to go. You might want to check into the overnight house if this is your first shift, because they're not going to be doing much now that it's nighttime on account of the ghosts. He says this very plain, like it's just an everyday thing. And for anyone else who's sightseeing, you might want to check out the saloon up here on the right. Given how late it is, you're probably going to want to stay the night. I'm certainly not coming back before dawn on account of the ghosts. And when you get there, you could probably secure a room or two. Gunter will hook you up. Just tell him that you're here and that you really like country western or something, it doesn't take much. He's a character. But he'll do you right. So just enjoy that.
Yeehaw.
That's the spirit. Save some of that for him. I'm not a cowboy person. And with that, the bus is going to pull into the area with a whole bunch of people waiting on the left and a saloon on the right.
All right, I'm going to get off the bus.
Yeah.
It is your right.
Okay.
And
Getting off the bus and, wait, where is Gunter?
In the saloon.
In the saloon. He's in the saloon. Okay. I'm going to get off the bus and...
have a saloon.
Yeah, grabbing my stuff and heading towards the saloon.
Oh, is that like a snow effect?
It is a snow effect.
Oh my god, that's so cool. What the heck?
It is a snow effect and a nighttime effect.
I love it.
These are the benefits of going to Fantasy Grounds Unity over old Fantasy Grounds. I can do things like that now. So,
Sweet.
I can make it go daytime and nighttime. I can change the weather. Get all kinds of stuff. And just to clarify, no, it's not a giant black void. That's just the inside that you can't see yet.
I figured.
But
I don't know. It looks like a void to me.
a little bit.
I must say, I haven't had a whole lot of exposure to this sort of American Western type thing. I'm quite intrigued.
I'm just straight up delighted right now. This is gonna be a thing.
All right, I'm going to take back the classroom and I'm going to drop you on the actual map now.
Yeehaw.
So that you can go exploring.
Are you really gonna play Fate without saying yeehaw?
And that's how we summoned Calamity Jane for the Great War.
Hey, she's canon now. Thanks,
I know.
granddaughter. She dresses weird, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna summon Annie Oakley. Actually, Annie Oakley would be really fucking cool. Now that I'm saying that out loud.
There you go.
It's a joke.
Archer class Annie Oakley. Somehow we found the catalyst in this weird German saloon, not salon.
It's the same word in German. That's why it's fun. Things that I learned while researching for a game. Saloons are salons.
Mm.
But yeah, so there you go.
So I'm gonna go choke apparently.
No.
That's not ideal. But yeah, so the saloon in front of you, like I said, it's a 2-story building. From where you're at right now, it's kind of dark, but you can see well enough in the available lighting to make out that the front of it has like one of those, like you walk up the steps a little bit onto a porch, just like you would expect out of a saloon. The snow is kind of weird to see surrounding it, but what can you do? There's a bunch of benches and chairs. There's some stacked barrels. Some weirdly out of place, given you're in Germany, bison skulls hanging next to some windows.
Must have imported them.
Quite possibly. And that red thing that you see over there near the right end is actually one of those, you put a quarter in it and ride horses sitting out front. Should anyone feel the need to do so.
Wait, hold on. Is it like American quarters or euros?
Oh no, it's American quarters. This thing was directly pulled from somewhere in America, presumably.
Oh jeez.
There's no telling how effective that's going to be, but it certainly creates an interesting aesthetic.
Penelope runs up to it. Please tell me someone has quarters.
You are free to do so. I don't think I've locked your tokens, but if I have, let me know.
I don't even see where the tokens are. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, I can't.
Nope, we're locked.
I can't move.
All right, I will unlock them.
Face.
I can target Penelope.
How's about
first.
now? Can you move?
Oh, yes.
Yep. Okay.
Cool.
Yeehaw.
Nice.
Well, I'm at least going to get out of the snow.
That's fair. Yeah, this area thankfully does have a roof over it and 2 big doors at the front.
Kwaku, do you have any cores?
Yes, 1 second. I believe Raps has one.
Oh my god.
So he flips open the box and he reaches in and he sort of shouts down, "Do you have a quota?" And then he waits, and then he waits, and then a giant hand reaches up and gives him like a state's quarter. "I don't know where you found this, but thank you." And then he hands it to you. And he closes the box and Raps goes back to his business, I guess.
I'm about to be a cowboy.
This is how it happens.
She hops on and puts the quarter in the machine.
Well, the machine does work.
Hooray!
Wow.
It starts moving back and forth with you sitting on it. It's very cold, given it's, sitting outside in the snow. Not in the snow, but in proximity to snow. But yes, it's going back and forth, and it is playing... like, the best you can really equate it to would be the theme from Gunsmoke. Not that either one of your characters would really be familiar with that. And the audio is exactly the level of audio quality you would expect from a thing like this. So, like, it's kind of like listening to a MIDI through a drive-through speaker. But the melody is there. It sounds sufficiently Western to you. So, and this goes on for about a minute. While you do that, Anise can look through the window if she wants.
Sure.
All right. I will let you see some things then. Let's just start revealing some boxes.
Ah, it's a window.
And top of that, because I probably messed that up, I'm going to make some NPCs visible. You see people inside.
I am actually shocked there are people inside.
They are eating.
Oh my gosh, look at these guys.
You can pretty easily tell from looking in there that these are people who have been working and presumably just got off shift about the time you saw those lights flicking out. But we're not so fortunate to be getting on the bus to go home. So they're eating up. Based on what you heard the bus driver say, presumably they're staying in one of the buildings across the way. There's no way there's enough room in, the saloon for a giant crowd of people to stay here. And it's probably more expensive than they really want to spend. This might just be easy foods, but it is there and open. Actually, your visibility is like 60 feet, right? You have good eyes. Yeah, let me give you some more of this map. I'm sure there's a way to draw better shapes than this, but here we are. Get you some angles on that. And some grids. I'll go through and redo this later while you're in conversations or something, just to make sure you can actually walk around in it properly. But yeah, good enough. You get the idea. If you go inside, I'll mark it all out. More NPCs to show. There you go. So you see a bunch of people looking through the window. You see people eating. You see a bunch of benches up near the end of the room. Like, you can't quite make it out clearly, but you can see that there's a fireplace in the back. So actually, that would have its own light source. I'll let you see that.
Man.
Cool. In fact, yeah, you can see well enough with that light source that just here, have a giant chunk of space. See a giant bear rug, part of a pool table, some animal things up on the wall. It's hard to tell from here if they're real or not. In general, the place kind of gives you the vibe of almost like a family restaurant that's trying really hard to look like it's a country western saloon, but it's obviously bought a bunch of its things after just seeing them in movies rather than ever going to the Wild West of America. So comedy ensues. And you can't see it very clearly, but it's sort of visible to you from where you're at now that there's a stage of some kind in the back right.
Oh, no.
But nothing is going on it right now. So there's a giant chunk of visibility from the window. About the time you're done looking at all of that stuff, the mechanical horsey comes to a halt, and Penelope is an official cowboy.
Excellent. All right, let's go inside so I can get my official hat. I don't know if they actually have hats, but
Might have them for sale.
I would be surprised if they did not have hats based on everything I've seen out here. It seems inevitable. But yes, it is also cold. Let's go.
yeah.
Wee.
Oh no, it's the void.
Yeah, I'm gonna just unmap all that stuff so you can walk into it.
Two of us are just standing at the door.
Let us
Like
in!
the-
You betrayed us, Spider! You went in without us.
What?
How could this have happened?
Spider-Man.
So friendly, much neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make it possible so that you can see everything in the room because you're inside now. Line of sight goes a long way once you're inside. And perhaps the most exciting part of this entire endeavor for you. Food! You got your food, you got your people hanging out in places, and you got even more NPCs than you saw before. Someone gave me an excuse to use the rope.
Guy.
Oh wait.
You've absolutely seen him before. He's probably the most high-profile token I've used.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yep, that's Cowboy Andy.
Oh.
Truly the great hero, Cowboy Andy.
There's one episode of Cowboy Bebop you should watch. It's that one.
It's pretty great. All right, so I'm just checking against. Looks like you can see everything in the room now. In fact, I'm just going to give you this extra part for free. You don't have to go in there to confirm it exists. Hey, look, there's bathrooms.
Yay. Now we don't have to unlock the toilets.
Yep. I've learned that bathrooms have apparently been the thing that prevent you from walking in the past, so I'm just giving it to you now. You got a bathroom.
There's the bar, and then there's the table over there.
Yep. So now that you're inside, I'll give you a little bit more of the room. You can see the 5 people to your right. There's a table full of people, and there's one of them with 3 plates down and one guy sitting there eating. The group of people at the top table are all talking about the day or whatever. Like they're having a lively discussion. The guy at the bottom table is sort of eating by himself, like sort of looking over a newspaper. Over at the bar, behind the bar, there's a guy who's dressed up like a cowboy, but not like a real cowboy, like a TV cowboy. In front of him, there's another guy who's just sort of like eating his food. At the top from the perspective of the map of the bar, the far right end, there's another guy who's thumbing through the menu. up in the far top left corner, next to the fireplace, you can see two guys playing billiards. The of those two, the one on the left seems to be laughing a lot, and the one on the right looks nervous. And then there's a big stage off on the right that's completely out of use. No one's doing anything with it. It's just there. Do what?
It's so sad.
How could this have happened?
What a tragedy.
Beyond that, just looking around, you can see the area immediately above you right now has a lower ceiling, and you can already tell from where you're standing that there are stairs that go up to a second floor over at the end of the bar. Whereas the area in the upper half of the room just goes way up to the top, making it a bit more open. When you look up there, you actually see a lot of things like hanging from the ceiling in addition to the lighting and the fans. The best modern example I can think of is if you've ever been to a Cracker Barrel and there's random things hanging down from the ceiling. It's like that. Lots of random like cowboy stuff hanging down from up there. There are hats. There are things that look kind of like blacksmithing equipment. Thankfully, nothing sharp that would fall and kill you. But there's a bunch of stuff hanging around up there just to, add to the aesthetic. In general, the place actually looks pretty good, pretty well maintained. There's stuff sitting out on the tables, but they go with the people, presumably. It doesn't take a big leap of logic to figure out that the two people playing pool are probably the two people that, ordered that other food while their friend is reading a newspaper. Everything here looks relatively modern. Like the stuff is kitschy, but like you can see a real cash register sitting on top of a barrel. So like, I guess that's how modern we're looking. Behind the bar, you can see a case that's got a lot of drinks in it. There's cans, there's bottles, there's alcohol. There's a decent assortment of stuff, and then there's a chalkboard with the day's specials and all of that written on it too. The day's special, by the way, is Yeehaw Chili, written in English. In fact, everything in this place is written in English, so I'm sure the locals love that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Your face is amazing.
Don't like that very much.
In fact, looking around, Anise, make a perception check. Oh, that's a spicy one. Okay, yeah. You've actually seen this handwriting somewhere before.
Really?
You have. So you can tell from looking around that while the letter that you received with this order was definitely written in that degrading handwriting that concerned you and is the reason you decided to come here in person, the actual package that it came in, like the big envelope with that and like the money and whatnot in it, was written in much better handwriting, and it matches the stuff that you see up on the chalkboard with the day's special on it. Like, it's very distinct because now that you've seen the context of this place, it makes more sense that like the little eyes they looked like loops before, but now you realize they kind of look like little lassos. Like someone's really, really into cowboy stuff, and they were the one who handled the actual shipping of this package. You also click back to when you were standing outside and Penelope was having fun with the little horse thing. That you did see a mailbox nearby, and it's the only mailbox you saw. So presumably your thing was shipped out from here, if anywhere.
And it's just the letters on the outside of the package, but like the writing on the actual letter was not the same.
Right. The writing on the letter was more reminiscent of the stuff that you're used to seeing from this person, but it appears that someone else prepared the actual envelope this time.
Okay.
And presumably they work here or have access to the board, or it's a suspiciously common cowboy handwriting in Germany. Take that as you will.
Yeehaw.
going to ask again. So, going to the bar, or are we going to get a table?
Let's get a table. Gonna go around this guy. Sorry, this guy. Just gonna plop herself right there in that seat.
Works for me.
Boop, boop, boop.
And burn.
Yay!
Okay, so you've plopped down. There are actually some menus sitting on the table waiting for you if you want to look over them.
Yeah. I don't want to have to order that hot chili under any circumstances.
What could happen?
You could turn into a cowboy.
Oh, where a cowboy turns into a cowboy under the North Star.
Yeehaw.
No.
But yeah, so you plop down. The menu is actually somewhat limited. It's got a bunch of like American food fairs, in addition to some more traditional German things. There's a section on soups. There actually are some salads. Like they do exist. Like apparently there's some fruit out here, but or fruit and vegetables, but not a ton. There's just a few options. A lot of it is like meat or potatoes or things along that line. And then of course there's a whole section on chili, all of which have names that remind you of, would remind you of cowboy movies and TV shows if you knew many of them. That's kind of up to your backstory. The Yeehaw chili is definitely the special of the day, but you could always go for a Clint Eastwood if you feel the need. The actual line on there says, if you are feeling lucky, which is special because that's not a cowboy movie, but it's not like this guy knows that. So.
To be fair, I didn't even know that. So.
Understandable. But yeah, Kwaku's taking a look over this and snickering at like every third item. So, do you think a fistful of donuts would actually be a good idea?
Does it literally say fistful?
That's apparently the unit of measure we're using for donuts here.
They're jelly-filled, that could get very messy.
Quite possibly.
But also, like, whose fist are we talking about? Are we talking about, like, my fist? Because that's going to be, like, half a donut.
It's not a great use of measure, no.
Or if it's like rap-sized fist, then it would be a lot of donuts. Maybe
it's true.
5. I don't know. Can we have him hold some donuts?
Maybe not right here, but if you get enough donuts, we can find out later.
Okay, cool. Good
This
to
is
know.
all going straight over in Anice's head. She's just like, I don't understand. Quietly reading the menu.
A fistful. Huh. What kind of things do we see in, like, I don't know, the salad section?
So there's a few. The first one listed is based on the ingredients. It's like a green salad, and it's actually just called What Food Eats, which is always fun.
Of course.
Yeah. And then there's the 310 to Yum Yum, which consists of a lot of things that, like, a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables in there, but also like some wontons. So apparently that's their idea of that. Like, you're getting the impression very quickly that whoever started this place had the idea of cowboy and then no actual idea of what to do with it. But they're also the only job in town, so the rest of these people seem to just be accepting it as what it is.
And then how does the menu look dessert wise?
Sherbets, ice cream.
Boo.
Yeah. There's a cheesecake.
There's a cheesecake.
A cheesecake, not a lot of flavors, but a cheesecake.
One singular cheesecake.
Me, the player, is assuming that there are like hamburgers and Trying to think of other like really American foods like mac and cheese.
Yeah, there's hamburgers. There's beans, like baked beans with Franks and all of that in them. There's mac and cheese. There's the aforementioned chili. It kind of looks like a school lunch menu for children in some ways. You don't see pizza on here, but you kind of expect it to.
Oh, jeez. I wonder if we just like wave down, like flag down the waiter, or like.
Are you looking over to the guy at the bar?
Yeah.
Okay. The second you make eye contact,
Oh God.
his head tilts a little bit to you, and then he tips down the hat, and you actually see a sparkle in his eye.
Oh my God.
And then he proceeds to step up to right here, and then put one arm on the bar, and then right over the bar, lands on the stool, continues up, and then walks forward, steps around over here, almost trips over this but doesn't, continues on like it didn't happen, and then walks down here.
Penelope is delighted.
All right, he's not sitting down, he's just leaning over the table, but...
Anise is amused.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the White Witch Saloon. My name is Gunter, and I run this fine establishment. And he's pausing to see if you reply in English or if he has to say that whole thing again in German.
Hi, sir.
Oh,
Heard a lot
good.
about you.
Oh, good. I hope it was all good things on account of I'm a white hat. And he is actually wearing a white hat.
I mean, none of them were bad things.
Well, that'll have to do now, won't it?
Yes,
He's actually slipping between different cowboy voices. Like, he's really just patched it together from different movies and thinks they're all one dialect.
Me, the player, is completely just enamored by this whole concept.
Now,
Oh God.
what can I do for you on the grub front?
What's a grub front?
It's the front of you needs grub, which I'll put on the table. Then you can eat it.
I didn't see grubs on the menu, but
You're right, we should get some grubs.
yes, prepared correctly, they can be quite delicious.
You bugs at it?
I've been known to eat bugs prepared correctly. They can be quite nutritious.
Now, it's important to get your protein when you're out on the prairie.
What?
So I respect that. But
All right. Well, what?
while we don't have any bugs here, on account of how clean the rooms are, happy to take your order. Tilts his hat down a little bit. Little lady.
Okay, so I would like, and then she just starts to proceed to order like at least 5 different things. I don't even want to bother figuring out what they are right now.
That's fair. So similar to when you were on the train, you're just like that one and that one and that one and that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got yourself a bit of an appetite. That'll be great. We'll just let the people back there know, and they'll grill us up something great. And it's like he seems to think you're ordering for the table, and he starts to turn.
Oh no, then
Yes. Unfortunately, that was just her order.
I'm sure it's fine. Don't worry.
I would like, and Annis orders like a hamburger and a salad and something to drink. Was there an alcohol menu, or would we have to request that?
Well, we've definitely got every kind of whiskey we could find, so both of them, and your fair selection of bourbon. We got some bottles. We got some other bottles. In fact, I'll just bring you a few, and you can pick one.
Do you have any wine?
Oh, there's city booze. Yeah, I think I've got some in the back if you'd like. Do you prefer it red like blood or white like hats?
I actually don't know which one Anise would prefer, so let me just roll something random.
Blood
Red
or
like
white
blood. Red like blood. Yes, sure.
That is the most rugged answer, and I appreciate it. And then he turns to Kwaku, and Kwaku's like, I would like to try the Yeehaw chili,
Of course.
but could you please bring some milk with it? And then he sort of stops, and he looks around the room to see if anyone else reacts to this, and no one does. And then he sort of goes, well, as it happens, we do have milk. Will do. I'll be right back, cowpokes
Wait,
and ladies.
before you leave,
Oh, yes?
I have a question. I rode on the horse.
You rode on the horse? You rode on Betsy?
Yeah. Do I get a hat?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Are you a good little girl or a bad little girl? Because that determines your hat.
I don't like the way you phrase that.
He seems to not at all understand the connotations of what he just said.
Sir, I don't know you well enough to answer that question.
Well, on account of how much you just helped out this fine establishment, I'm going to take it you're a good un, and I'm going to go get you a white hat.
I am an adult. But I'm adult. And then she also requests some of the wine.
Sure thing, little lady. Doesn't even check for IDs. He does not
Oh!
care. So he makes his way back. He actually goes back the more responsible way, which is under the stairs to the proper entrance. And then he heads back behind the bar and into the other room, which I promise you exists, is not a black void, and gets to talking to the kitchen staff.
Yeehaw.
So what do you think is in the chili?
I don't even want to begin to fathom. You'll have to let us know.
It's bits of real cowboy.
I'm not sure that that's. I mean, I would think you can't really be sure.
You would probably have to import that.
True.
All I know is that of everything on that menu, this is the one most likely to bring us a story. So this is the one I ordered.
Oh, that is fun. I do wonder why they call this place the White Witch. That doesn't seem very Western or country.
No, it is a bit out of place.
The white, not so much. Everything around here is the white something, but the witch.
I mean, you're not wrong.
We could
Just
probably
a
ask
great
when he gets back, or maybe we could ask some of the locals. They might know.
I think we should ask the strange cowboy man when he returns with our things.
Kunta does seem to want to speak to us.
I am gonna make a perception check.
Go for it.
Just a general perception check. Because, like, while they're waiting, Penelope's just gonna start, like, just kind of like. She's looking at Kwaku and Anise, but she's kind of like subtly eavesdropping on the other table.
Yeah, you can do that. You just want to listen in on what they're saying?
Yep.
Go for it.
Boop.
Ooh, you spied.
Yeah.
All
Dang,
right.
now I want some milk.
What was that?
Oh, me, IRL, wants some milk.
That's fair. Okay. So yeah, there's a few conversations going on over there at the top table. Like I said, the guy at the bottom table is not really saying much, so you're not getting too much out of him. But yeah, so let's see what they're saying over here. Yeah, so there's the guy that is in the top left who's sort of wiping away at his face in this one. He is talking to the guy immediately to his right, and the other two are having their own conversation. So the two of them on the top are going back and forth in German.
Oh no.
So you hear German.
Oh no.
Yep.
Saying you just have to tell me to listen to him.
She's trying to be subtle about it.
You do hear some words, though. I'll tell you some of the proper nouns that you hear, and you can try to piece that together for context.
Anise does not naturally eavesdrop.
So, you hear you hear a bit of them talking, and there you hear Vice Exon at one point, which from the sign out front, is like White Witch. So they didn't say it in the context of the saloon. They just said White Witch at one point. The guy on the left seems to be a little bit nervous about what's going on around him. Like, you don't really need to roll insight to tell that. He's kind of looking like he actually is holding up like a napkin, like he's, sweating a bit nervous. And the one on the right is just sort of like trying to reassure him somehow. Like, he's smiling. Like, in this picture, he's not smiling here because it turns out I don't have a whole lot of them smiling. But he's telling him something, and it seems to be, like, more reassuring. But you do notice that the guy on the top left sort of keeps looking around like he thinks he's going to see something that maybe is or isn't there. He looked over at your table for a second, but then he looked back towards the bar. And then he looked back towards the stage that's empty. Then he looked back towards the bathroom. And he looked back towards the people in front of him. And he's not spending any more or less time on you than anything else. You're just a new thing to look at. More interestingly, the bottom two actually are speaking to each other. And they are speaking in English. So you can understand what they're talking about.
Oh, good.
And so the one on the left down there who is smiling and wearing a hat, he's sort of regaling the one on the right with a bit of a story and some, back and forth banter. And in English, he's saying, "So what's up with that guy over at the bar? He's an American, right? Like, he looks like an American, but he's been here for days. Why would anyone come here for days? He doesn't work here. It's strange. He's just always at the bar. I think he's staying here. I don't know what's going on with that. He's weirding me out. I don't really get it." And the guy to the right of him is replying, "He's probably just a tourist who's here to write a book or something. We get those every once in a while. For all I know, he's Stephen King." I don't think he's Stephen King. Do you know what Stephen King looks like? I don't know what Stephen King looks like. See, it could be Stephen King. I don't think it's Stephen King. Should we go ask him if he's Stephen King? No, you can't just ask someone if they're Stephen King. I'm going to ask him. No, you're not. So, oddly enough, that would have been the more entertaining conversation for you to get in German and then just saying Stephen King over and over again. But that's the way the dice fell on that one.
Penelope shares what she's picked up on with Anise and Kwaku. So I might have been a little bit snoopy. I heard them say something about a white witch over at the other table.
Were they talking about the saloon?
I don't know. It was in German, so I didn't... That's the only word I understood. And then they're talking about the guy at the bar over there. Or one of the guys at the bar. Apparently one of the guys is weird and has been here a while? I don't know.
I guess, Anise will try to listen in on the conversation happening in German.
Go for it.
Let's see. Would that be...
Just
I guess that would be
perception again, yeah.
Okay.
Again, we're doing more of a mystery and roleplay heavy game than a combat game. I wouldn't be surprised if the perceptions and the socials got more play than they usually do. Yeah, that's easy enough to listen in. They're not being super subtle. So you sort of come in a little bit later on their conversation, but you do hear them. So the guy in the top left who's all nervous is going back and forth in German with the guy in the top right who's like, he is consoling him a little bit. He's like, so how did Gunther even buy this place? And why did he call it the White Witch? That's so weird. That's just weird, right? Like, we know Gunther. He worked with us, but then one day he's suddenly rich and opens a giant saloon. And then he calls it that? Like, what's up with that? And then the other one is sort of reassuring him. Like, look, man, it's probably just named after his girlfriend. We've all seen her once in a while. You know, the really white lady with the white hair. Why would he name his girlfriend a witch? That's really weird. Look, man, that's between them. That could be their thing. We know Gunther's weird. Could be fine. Could be whatever. Well, then how come we never actually see her walking around here? Well, I mean, maybe she's not real. I don't know. Maybe she's the White Witch. We don't know. This place could be haunted. What do you mean it could be haunted? Sorry. No, it's probably not haunted. What do you mean probably? Well, I've never seen anything. What if the ghosts are invisible? And he goes back to looking around, as if that's gonna make more sense after what he just said.
I will relay that the bar, they're not sure why the bar is called the White Witch, and they're just as confused about it as we are, and that Gunther apparently suddenly got rich and bought this place. And possibly named it after his girlfriend, who's very pale and has white hair.
When he comes back, I'm going to ask him. I have to know.
That could make for a good story. I'm curious to hear as well.
We should also ask about rooms.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. Otherwise, where are we sleeping tonight? I don't know. Not in the snow. It is not happening.
Presumably, as you said, based on what you heard earlier, at least one of them is being taken up by that American at the bar, who they think is Stephen King.
I don't think it's Stephen King. I think Stephen King, like... I don't... What does he look like? Why is he a king?
I'm trying to decide if Anise would have like a Stephen King novel just in her bag, like, oh, he looks like this, and just, but no, probably not.
I don't know if that's really the kind of author she would follow.
Probably not.
You might have seen one of the movie adaptations if you ever saw a movie and been like, but you're not really a movie person. All right, so he's returned. Gunther is here with a giant tray of food, and places that down in front of Penelope in the center of the table, with most of the food leaning toward her. He also has some drinks on this tray that he sets in front of each of you. Now, I'll be right back with the Yeehaw Chili.
Howdy.
Howdy to you too. Boom, boom. Pretend he's not clipping through walls. It's more fun that way, right?
Talking about his totem. It's fine. This happens normally.
But yeah, so you've got a lot of food. It actually looks pretty good. It looks pretty well prepared. Didn't take too long as everyone else had already had their food, so you got what you ordered pretty quick. While you were sitting around, I'll use the 2 perception rolls that you did before, so you don't have to just keep making them. That'll just sort of cover things that you pick up as you're looking around for the scene, because you're obviously paying attention to the world around you. So both of you notice that guy at the end of the bar who may or may not be Stephen King, but it's probably not Stephen King. He did sort of do the yawn stretch thing, and when he did that, you got a bit of a better look at him. And so, looking over at him, he's kind of a weird combination of features, which maybe explain why people were paying a little more attention to him than usual. He is Caucasian. He's got skin, like his skin is kind of pale, but it looks a little more rough than you would expect for someone whose skin's that pale, like someone who maybe works out in the sun all day but somehow doesn't have a tan. So that's kind of weird. He's got long brown hair, which is in a ponytail drooped over one of his shoulders. You can tell even from this far away and in the lighting of the room that his hair is gray in places, like it's, like prematurely graying. In fact, you can't even tell really how old the guy is, because he either is lived a really hard life at a young age, or he's aging marvelously, but he's in this really ambiguous place of could be 30s, could be 40s. I don't know. It's weird. He's also kind of noteworthy to you because he's got black spectacles on, like, they're dimmed, like sunglasses, even though there's not really a lot of reason to wear those inside. It makes it kind of hard to see his actual eyes or his face in great detail, but he's there. And you also notice that when he does his like yawn stretchy thing, he's sort of, like, you can recognize this because you've both done it yourselves, but he's sort of taking in the room, and you get the distinct impression, specifically Penelope noticed this one, that his gaze lingered on your table slightly longer than anything else. And that specifically, you can't really see like exactly where his gaze went because of the glasses, but just from looking at the way he tilted his head, you kind of get the impression that he spent a little bit more time looking at Penelope and Anise than he did at Kwaku or anything else. It kind of reminds you a little bit of when you were on the train and that guy seemed to make the two of you and try to cover it up.
Oh.
But he's not doing anything. He just did his yawn, and now he's picked his menu back up.
I think Stephen King was checking us out. The phrase I never thought I would say in my life. Hello. But
has he ordered anything, or is he still looking at the menu?
No, he seems to still be just looking at the menu, even though you've had time to order and get your food. He's just sort of looming in the room.
That's suspicious.
In fact, at this point, Kwaku sort of turns around and a little bit more bluntly looks in that guy's direction once he puts the menu up. So I didn't get as good a chance to see him as you did, but I think I might know who that is. I think he's with the association.
Oh.
Not sure why he would be here, though. This is pretty remote. Well, if it's who I think it is, he is.
Stephen King?
What? No, he's.
Stephen King?
Stephen King also looks like he was maybe older than he should be, but no. No, that's. I think he's actually looks a bit worn down because he's a necromancer.
Ooh.
That'll really drain you a bit, just over time. Too much exposure to that. No, if he's who I think he is, in fact, I'm going to make him roll to see how well he would know this. I think this is the first time Kwaku's got to roll. Good for you, buddy. He keeps delegating everything to his golem. There you go. Wow, it's a terrible roll. He rolled a 2. Poor guy.
Ooh.
Yes, I don't remember what he's called, but I think he's one of the people that gets called in when there are sealing designations. There are not many of them, but I think his job is to recover the crest of whoever the designation is on, which would make sense as a necromancer, as presumably you're going to want to extract that after they kill the person. It's very strange to find him here, though.
That does seem strange, yes.
Does that mean he's like, is he waiting on somebody to die, or?
I'm really not sure. Like, you usually call him in when someone else is already taking care of problems. He may just be here on his own business. Not really sure what he would be doing here, but odds are if I recognize him, he could recognize me. So I suppose we could talk to him? Or we could go about our business.
Let's say, is that a bad thing or a good thing that he'd recognize you?
Well, I don't particularly know. I have no plans of dying. And I am not from a mage lineage with a crest to pass down, so can't imagine anyone would particularly want it. Like, both of you, just as, magecraft practitioners, are aware that crests are passed down by families so that whatever progress one generation makes can be passed on to the next one, and hopefully eventually someone in the line will successfully accomplish the overall goal of mages, which is to reach the root and connect with the core of existence and all the big, ambiguous, cool stuff that comes from that. It's the thing that keeps mages going. So if a mage dies prematurely, the family wants to recover the crest so that they can then pass it on to someone else. And if, for whatever reason, a mage ends up on the wrong side of the association to the point where they're like, this person's dangerous and needs to be put down, then they still want that crest because it could still be useful just for other purposes. So it's not a big leap to assume that they would send someone along to actually do the collection of said crest if they have to hunt someone down.
Oh, good.
I don't believe either one of you come from families that are doing the crest thing, but if you'd like to work that into your backstory, you're welcome to.
Nah.
Nope.
The way that I handled it mechanically for this game is that that's what sorcerers are. Just to differentiate them from wizards. So, like, wizards are more like your Waver Velvets who are studying magic but don't have inherent power, whereas people who've inherited it from their, genetics get to be sorcerers. So they do less things, but they're better at them, and then they get meta magic to reflect that they've got years of practice with very specific stuff. So, as non-sorcerers, I think both of you were probably exempt from his interest. Assuming he's here for work. He could also just be here because he likes to write a novel. We have no idea yet.
He's writing the next big crime novel. Horror novel, not crime novel. I forgot what Stephen King wrote there for a minute.
It's okay, it
It's
happens.
fine. Don't worry about it. We can always bother him after we eat. See what he's up to. Reconnect him with his old buddy Kwaku, I guess. Or not buddy, I don't know. I don't know your life.
So as you're saying this, Gunter returns with a giant cast iron pot and mittens on it. And he sets the giant pot on the open spot of the table. And then he pulls out like a tiny little flute whistle, almost like a kazoo, actually, almost like your kazoo.
Oh no.
And he blows on it, and it makes a high-pitched noise that gets everyone's attention. And then he turns and he goes, "Yee-haw chili! Just what's good for you. Yee-haw chili! That's what you ordered. Yee-haw chili! It's a special dish. Yee-haw chili! It's so delish!" And that's about it. Everyone in the room just sort of stares. And then he just sort of throws his hands up like a ta-da. And Kwaku is just like suddenly embarrassed, and you've not really seen this look on him before. And then he goes, "Yes, that is what I ordered. Thank you."
I mean, you wanted a story.
This is an experience.
Ugh.
Only the very best from Gunter. And at this point, he checks and, like, if you finished any of your food, he's going to gather your plates. If you're still picking at it, not a problem. If you would like to grab him before he goes, you can. Otherwise, he is going to retreat back to the kitchen.
I don't think Anise would have started eating until Kwaku got his food, one.
Yeah.
And two, yeah, I definitely want to basically stop him from leaving so we can ask about why it's called the White Witch.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
You said you wanted
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so, Gunter, my dude, I have a question for you.
Well, shucks. I mean, I am from a dude ranch, so I can help you out however I can.
Okay, so, we were wondering, why is it called the White Witch Saloon?
Well, that's a mighty fine question. So, I opened this establishment in honor of the White Witch that lives in the woods. On account of everybody says this side of the road is cursed, or that the witches will get you. But me, I think they're just misunderstood. So I opened this place in their name. And they've not done anything to me. Don't get bothered by any ghosts or spirits or poltergeist or any the sort up in here. Also, they're mighty nice to look at.
I have so many questions. You've met the White Witch, which is plural.
Well, I've met one or two.
We heard your girlfriend is the White Witch.
Oh no, I'm afraid old Gunter is a lifelong bachelor. But I have met one or two, and they are very nice. They're nice ladies, and they deserve respect.
They're nice. Why do people think that the woods are cursed?
I think people are just afraid of places that they're not willing to go. And if I'm being honest, I've not really wanted to go there either. You see, you go down the hill behind the saloon and into the trees, you'll get turned around, and before you know it, you're staring back at my saloon. I don't know how it works. It's a tricky mountain. Maybe it's got something to do with bats and echolocation throwing off your brain. I'm not really a science man. I know that surprises you. But no, far as I can tell, people get weirded out by it, and so they started, telling stories. But there are some nice ladies who live back there, and they come out once in a bit. And when they do, they've got beautiful white hair on account of, well, I assume it's genetic at this point. And they pay nice, and they go about their business, and we are happy to host them here at the White Witch Saloon.
This might be a weird question. Do they pay in euros or gold?
That is an interesting question. Are you talking nuggets or coin?
Just gold. Coins, I guess.
Well, between you and me, and he sort of leans in, like right in front of Penelope, because he's leaning the awkward way over the table. Between you, me, and the spirits of the steer above, referencing all the animals on the wall, they do tend to pay in gold. It's that good no-tax currency. You're not auditors, are you? I should have asked that first. Damn it, Gunter.
No, we most certainly not.
I am absolutely a tax auditor, sir.
She's kidding, I think.
Well, if you are, there's an extra Sunday in it for you if you say you're not and you live by it.
I mean, I will gladly tell you that I am not a tax auditor if it gets me free ice cream.
Sounds like we've got ourselves an accord. And then he very blatantly winks at you. Now, how do you know about them and their gold? Have you gotten a coin or two from them in your day?
Yes, in the mail.
In the mail?
I'm a crafty person. I make things, they buy them, I send them to them, and they send me gold in return. I thought it was weird, but gold spends. It's like you said, it's no tax currency.
So wait, you received a package from them?
I have, yes.
Was it recent? Do you have what she ordered?
I'm gonna do. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I'm
Insight
still
check.
gonna do an insight check.
You are welcome to. I mean, he's weird, but he isn't giving you any impression that he's a liar.
I do, yes. And I actually recognized the handwriting on the board. That's your handwriting, if I can assume. Being that you dot your I's with lassos.
Well, that's just how a good and cultured man writes his script. But yes. In fact, between, again, you, me, and the steers above, I think there might be some ears around here that shouldn't hear our conversation. Would you mind stepping over to the back? Maybe we can have a chat with less intrusive cowpoke ears.
Only if my two friends can come with me.
Oh, I insist.
Oh, okay.
And then he says really loud, "Let's go get you your ice cream, birthday girl."
Birthday!
Yay!
All right, so he's gonna lead you guys back here.
I guess I will follow.
I still didn't get.
You still didn't what?
Didn't get the hat.
That's true. You may yet get your hat. All right, so he's gonna come over here. Gonna drag the view a little bit for the sake of the recording. What? All right. So he's going to open this door that's next to the stairs. And by the way, from the stairs, you can see up to the top area a little bit. You can tell that there's 4 rooms up there. Just from here, you can see the doors. Each one actually has a big stuffed animal. Or stuffed animal is in, like, you don't know if it's real or not, whether or not it's, like, actual taxidermy or not from down here. The lighting isn't too great up there. But it's matching the aesthetic of down here, at least.
Oh, good.
So it's likely fake, but you won't know until you see it closer, I guess.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, so he's going to open this here door. Boop. And then he's going to... So over here, you can see a door that goes presumably outside back here. It's got like an emergency exit sign or whatever on it. And then he's going to actually open up the bottom door at this point, which frees up a lot more of the map. Welcome to the kitchen and storeroom.
Yeehaw.
All right, so he's going to walk in this way.
We just left all that yeehaw chili sitting on the table, didn't we?
You sure did.
Well,
sorry, Kwaku. Oh, I cannot proceed through this door.
Oh, did I miss a bit? I might have missed a pixel of it.
Oh, wait. Never mind.
oh, where did I go? Oh.
You just have to, like, walk through this wall.
Yeah, that's the thing about masking. If there's even 1 pixel in the way, it won't let you mouse or keyboard through it. But that hopefully caught the rest of it this time.
I'm gonna hang out in the apples. No. That would be rude.
That would be rude.
Oh.
All right, so yeah, they all followed you back.
No.
Okay,
Put
so
me in the freezer.
now that you're all in here. Okay, so... And then he sort of drops the cowboy act entirely. He goes, all right, so...
Hold on, pause really quick. Is there any way I could take like a quick 2-second break?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I will be right back.
All right.
God, that was my back. Ugh. Okay.
You're now an invertebrate.
Yep.
You just slither everywhere.
Ooh.
How could this have happened? You see, Doctor, I had a D&D accident. This is one of the more interesting maps to design because I had to find, like, actual modern things.
But then there was also the cowboy aesthetic.
Yep. I was tempted to find a real saloon map, but I decided that it would be more fun to make one and like the family theme restaurant approach instead. Because like an actual authentic cowboy saloon doesn't make a lot of sense in the modern world at all.
Yeah, but if there's one place that you could get away with it, it's Germany.
Germany has those. Like, there's a whole subculture of like wild western towns in Germany.
Huh.
Yeah, it's real. Like, I didn't make that part up. They have a big culture that loves that stuff.
Interesting.
It's like their version of like otaku loving Japan. They just really like Western movies. I don't know why. It's weird. But yeah, look it up sometime. It's pretty fun. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube and articles. If you ever need even more interesting things to see pictures of. But yeah, I'm guessing you didn't expect to end up in a saloon in Germany 3 sessions in.
Not terribly.
Keeps it fun.
The first time I've zoomed in this far, and I noticed that the thing around the portrait is rope for cowboy Andy there.
Yep, it sure is. I was happy to see that was an option. So we've got a rope for the cowboy. We've got vegetation for the druid. We've got a rainbow music note thing for the bard, which loses a lot of its detail when it's actually scrunched in here, but it's neater when it's big. And then Kwaku just has some generic runes and a ring around him. If I ever redo his, it'll be like spiderwebby or something. My hope is that if I ever get around to redoing some of them, it's going to be because I've got like actual art for them. Meanwhile, Guy at the end of the table, like it's partly fun to think that people were just like, that guy's weird because like he's Pickaroo and everyone else is something else. But
I did notice that.
Yeah. That was the thing the other day when I messaged and said that I was tired of looking for the right picture and all of these things for this guy, so I'm just going to make one. And it works pretty well.
Yeah. Pickaroo can be dangerous, though.
Oh yeah, I'm back, by the way.
Right.
I fully found like another Pickaroo the other day that I'm just like, oh no, this is gonna be a problem. I think I might have.
You did.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody good?
I am slightly dying, but good.
Only slightly.
Do less of that.
I'm trying. Ooh. Okay.
All right.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. So once you get back there, Gunter dials back the cowboy thing a little bit. Like, it's still there, but it's not as much for show now. It just is who he is. And so it goes, so you're the nice lady who's going to help out my friend who needed me to send that package for.
I suppose I am.
Okay, good, because I'm real worried about her. She's not, like, since you asked, and since I don't imagine anyone's eavesdropping from here on account of the doors and all, she's the one who helped me open this saloon. You see, a few years back when I was still working in the quarry with everybody else, I got kind of tired of dealing with everybody. Turns out they make fun of you if you're the cowboys out here for some reason, the uncultured. But regardless, so I decided to just go for a walk in the woods, and I actually did run into her. And well, it was her or one of her sisters. It's kind of weird. They look pretty similar. It's like twins or something. It's a weird family. But specifically, what she was telling me is that it was inconvenient for them to have to meet guests out here and bring them back because people noticed it, and it started making rumors about there being witches and stuff. So I offered to open up an establishment to give people somewhere to stay and maybe justify it, and then occasionally I would send them back down to her whenever they were visiting. Now, I don't know what her family does, but I know they pay real good and they seem nice. And so I've got a room here set aside for their guests, and every once in a while they'll come to me and they'll say, "Gunter, could you help me out?" And of course I do, because they're good ladies. And in this case, every year she'd come out here and she'd send out some mail, and not a problem. I assume that was going to you. But this past year, she was a bit late. We have a bit of an anniversary. Like, I call it a date. She doesn't seem to call it anything, just when she shows up. But she came out here this time, and she didn't look so good. She was a bit later than usual. It was like a few days late, maybe a week. And she looked kind of sick, and she said that she needed some medicine. Now, I offered to take her to a hospital, but she said not that kind of medicine. And, like, again, I am not a man of science, so I believe her. But I helped her. I helped her finish her letter. I stuffed the gold that she was providing, which I guess went to you, and I took care of mailing it out. And then I told her that whenever the package came back, or I guess now the person delivering it, I would get it to her. But I haven't seen her since, and I'm worried about her. She lives off in the woods, and it seems like everybody else who goes down there gets lost and turned around, but she seems to be just fine with it. In fact, whenever they have guests, she comes out here and she walks them back, so I presume she knows the way. But it is dangerous out there, and I worry about her, especially if she's sick. So if you're here to help her out, then I would be happy to do whatever I can to help you help her. She's a nice lady. She gave me the gold to get this thing started. She pays nicely enough for me to set up my own little cowpoke place on this here mountain and help out all the people that used to make fun of me, because now they respect me.
I admit I was a bit worried about them too. Just the handwriting was definitely not as finesse. There's a word I'm looking for and I can't find it. Definitely not as...
It was a bit less aesthetically pleasing than the usual.
Sure. And I got the impression that they might have been sick or injured, so... And I was a bit worried when it came in later than usual, so I decided to bring it to them myself if I could, and was a little bit interested to figure out who's been paying them gold in the year 2005.
It is a peculiar choice, and actually I was curious about it when I first got one, on account of who pays in gold. And so I got somebody to look at it, and it's real old. Like, it's something that collectors are more interested in. Like, I suppose you could melt it down just for value, but collectors like to pick it up. Apparently it's some old German gold. Not that German gold. Much older. Much older. Just be clear. Just make sure we're all on the same page. Like, way older German gold.
I assume Anise knows that because she's probably had to trade it with collectors to get actual money that she actually used.
Yeah, you've had to fence the money that you received too. So, like, it's not as easy as just, dropping it off in the bank. But given you travel in mage circles, old money, especially coin, shows up all the time, so it's not even that unusual. Because like mages don't really have credit cards, so a lot of them just have generational wealth, and their generational wealth happens to be in some cases like literal piles of gold buried under something. So you've definitely encountered it before, but yeah, this checks with what you've seen. So if you're here to help her out, then far as I'm concerned, that makes you a guest. So I would be happy to give you the key to their guest room, and, well, there's 3 of you, so if you'd like another room or 2, I can throw those in as well. It's up to you. Right now, we've only got 1 of them checked out, and there's 3 more, including the guest room.
That's quite generous of you. Thank you.
Oh, it's no problem at all. In fact, which one of you wants their room? And I'll get you the keys right now. And he walks over to like a post that's over the potatoes, because apparently that's where he keeps them.
Their room?
How big is the room?
Oh, they fit a nice queen size bed. Each has its own shower. Like, they're nice rooms. They're real good. They are a bit anachronistic for the aesthetic that we're going on account of we didn't want to have you bathe in a bucket.
Oh, good. That's quite good.
Darn.
There are limits. And now, if you want a bucket, I can have one brought up to you. You could probably fit in it.
How big of a bucket are you talking about? How mad am I about to be at you, sir?
So he gestures back to one of the barrels behind him on a pallet. About that big. Like, an actual full-size adult could sink in one of these things. Like, it's not specific to you.
I'm good. I don't need a barrel.
If you don't mind me asking, who is the 4th room being rented out to?
Oh, it's that American feller. He's a bit of a weird one. He's been here for a few days. Not really sure what he's going on about, but he paid up front. He's sort of an interesting fellow. Like, I see him going out at night. He seems to go out a bit after the sun goes down, comes back around, 1 or 2-ish, then sleeps a bit and then heads out each day. Don't really know where he goes. Comes back by dinner time, paid up front. Bit weird, but doesn't seem to cause any trouble.
I suppose if the 3 rooms open and 3 of us, we could each take 1 room?
That would be certainly fine by me.
Unless you wanted to stay in the room with me, Penelope, just for safety.
I mean, if you need your privacy, I don't mind staying in another room.
We're just like shrugging back and forth at each other. Again, this is an audio medium.
Yeah. At the back, Kwaku's like, I would like a room. I just met these people. They're both very nice, but I think that would be presumptuous. So I will be getting my own room. Thank you. Well, all right then. I'll get you 3 keys, and you can divide them up as you see fit. The nice lady's room is the wolf room.
Do you have an affinity for wolves?
Personally, I think they're fine. I'm more of a coyote fella, if you can understand that, but...
Are there even coyotes in Germany?
I've never seen one, but I like to think that if your heart is there, they will find you.
I mean, I've seen one at the London Zoo, but that's a zoo.
Yeah, it's not really their natural habitat. They're not really a Haagen-Dazs kind of animal.
What does that mean?
What does that mean, indeed? Okay, so he holds out 3 keys to you.
Okay.
The keys consist of, let me just double check. Make sure I get these things right. Yeah, so one of them is a wolf, as stated. One of them has a stag, and one of them has a bear. and they have like little figurines attached to them, kind of like hall passes or something. Like something a little bit big to make it really obvious if you're trying to wander away with it, but
Yeah.
so. In the absence of either of you claiming anything, Kwaku's like, I guess I'll take the boar.
The what?
The pig.
The bear?
The boar.
There was a boar?
I saw one. Or is that where the American is staying? That's right. He's staying in that one. Oh, well. There you go then. I guess by that rationale, I will take the bear. Because they are similar.
They're really not. For a lot of reasons, they're very much not similar, but...
I mean, they have 3 of the same letters.
They are phonetically similar. How is that?
Okay,
Yeah.
That I will accept.
What if it's a boar bear? Bear boar?
It's just a bork. Don't worry about it. From the Swedish Saloon.
And I guess I'll take the stag.
Okay.
Stag.
All right, so stag key is now in. Why are you trying to add it to the blackberry? That's weird. Don't add it to the blackberry. Add it to the inventory. Your phone is now a key. Enjoy.
Too early for it to be digital keys.
Yeah. All right, so that's in your inventory now. And that leaves the wolf for Anise.
A wolf. A werewolf.
Their wolf. Their castle.
Why are we talking like this?
Because you're so sensitive to the Germans. There you go. Wolf key. You have a wolf key now.
Oh. Key.
All right, well, as noted, as much as I am worried about my lady friend, I would recommend maybe going out to see her in the daylight. Because
of course.
It's pretty dark out there. It's pretty cold. And between all of us, yeah, there's ghosts. There's totally ghosts.
What kind of ghosts?
It's weird. I don't know how many movies you've seen, but
0.
Oh, okay.
I've seen a few.
Okay, well, have you seen Poltergeist?
Absolutely not.
Okay. In that case, they're the kind of ghosts that you don't see, but they do stuff to you. Scare you away.
Interesting.
They don't seem to actually hurt anybody, but they scare the dickens out of you.
Ooh.
Are they the kind that like throw things around the room?
Oh yeah, that's them. That's them.
Ooh.
I mean, I have heard of poltergeists. Interesting.
For the most part, they only really mess with people who go down into the woods. So, that's a thing. They don't seem to bother anybody up here, but just be aware. Maybe stick to the daylight. That's the other reason. But I wasn't going to say it out there in front of them because I think that feller at the other table was already terrified of his shadow. So I wasn't just going to say, yeah, there's ghosts. But yeah, there's ghosts. There's totally ghosts.
Oh, good.
Suppose we will wait for the daylight. You don't have any way of contacting these white witches, I suppose. They just come to you when they need things.
Yeah, they're not really a phone bunch. They usually show up when they need something, and seeing as I'm always here, it's pretty easy for them to find me. I haven't seen them in a bit, like at all. In fact, some of them checked into the room just before leaving. They said they'd be back later, but then they didn't come back. I think they left the country. It's a bit weird to travel. There were 3 of them that time. There was like, 2 tall, nice ladies, and then there was a girl with them. She's pretty young, pretty tiny. But they left about a year ago. Haven't seen them since. No one's actually checked out the room since then either. So I guess if you find anything in there that's theirs, they might appreciate it if you bring it back. I have not touched the room because I respect their privacy.
But you've seen the White Witches since then, just not those three in particular?
Not those three, no. Just the one that I know.
Interesting. Well, thank you for the information, and thank you for the rooms.
Yeah, thank you.
I believe we should be getting back to that yeehaw chili.
Oh, that's true. You should probably get to that before it gets cold, because if I've got to heat it up, it's going to lose a little bit of its kick. You don't want that. No, that would be terrifying.
Sir, you still owe me a hat?
You're absolutely right. And because you're the one who's been helping out my friends, he takes the hat off of his head and he puts it on yours.
It's just like soul lights down over her
on Penelope, right?
Yeah, on Penelope.
Oh no, I can't see. I've gone blind.
Perhaps a smaller hat.
Tell you what. I'll go digging back in the storage and I'll find you a smaller hat if you want to come back for that later. Or you can wear mine in the meantime.
She hands the hold on.
The hat.
She hands the hat back. She's like, you keep it.
Well, all right then. I'll find another one for you by the time you get back from helping out my friend. In the meantime, and then he reaches down into like a little freezer and he grabs an ice cream scooper and he actually makes you your sundae.
Yeah.
If anybody asked, it's your birthday.
It is always my birthday, sir.
That is an excellent strategy to become old and wise and full of ice cream.
It's not my birthday, but I too would enjoy a sundae. And Anise is just standing there, like, looking kind of ashamed, but not so ashamed that she's not asking for free ice cream.
Not a problem, little lady. He makes one for you as well, and Kwaku's like, I'm good.
Are you sure you could share mine?
No, I have a lot of chili, and I think that will be sufficient.
Are you sure?
If I change my mind, I will acquire more.
Okay, I'll save a spoon for you.
Thank you. You are very considerate on your birthday.
Thank you. I try. I'm like wheezing. I'm laughing so hard.
It'll be okay, bro.
It's like I'm trying really hard not to laugh, but I'm like ending up just like wheezing.
Okay, so with that, he's gonna lead you all out. You should be able to move more freely now that all that stuff is not mapped out.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. I was there.
All right, and so
there you go.
There you go. As you're walking by the pool table, feel free to roll a perception if you want to hear how the game's going.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm not gonna try and perceive the pool table, but I am gonna try and like see what's up with the glasses man if I can.
Go for it. Yeah.
Where are you, character sheet? There you are.
Perception check. Boom.
Perception.
I like how the die roller is making them drift like it's initial D.
How's the game going?
Okay, so with your roll, you can tell that the guy who's all smiling with the beard in the bottom of the picture, he's a bit older than the other guy. He looks like he's a bit more like experienced. He's cleaning up pretty heavy off the young guy. He's got a pretty big pot there. But you also notice that the young guy is putting on more of an act of being worried than like his face is showing anxiety, but the rest of his body's not. Like it's very possible that you're observing an old guy about to get sharked. And then you rolled a 20 for observing the guy at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Okay, so now that you're a lot closer, you can make out way more details about him than you could from across the room. You actually catch an angle of him around his glasses, and you can see that he has crow's feet under his eyes. Like, he definitely is a bit more of a gaunt appearance than you could tell from across the room. He's also got sort of a grayish silver hue to his eyes. Like, maybe they were once blue, but they've definitely faded. Just from your experience working with druidic magic and other things that are more life-oriented, you've noticed from working with much older druids that a lifetime of working with life magic actually makes your eyes a bit more vibrant. It's like, you know, you get richer blues, richer greens, richer whatever. Now you're kind of assuming that maybe working with death subdues you. In fact, it's very likely that as a necromancer, if this guy is a necromancer, he's probably been slowly draining away a lot of aspects of his life. Like, he might not die from it or anything, but it's certainly taking a toll on him. It's wearing him down. It's kind of like the magical equivalent of being the president and actually doing your job. Like, you just get a lot older in a very small amount of time. So while you're not really sure how old this guy is, he definitely looks like he's had a rough go so far. Other things that you can pick up just from looking at him are that he has, you can kind of see them in his token. He's got earrings on, and those earrings appear to be tiny little, you can't tell if they're bones or they're like claws, but they definitely look organic, like they were maybe attached there. So you've seen enough things like that in your druid life to know that those are probably came from some kind of animal or creature. And if someone's wearing that on their ears, it's probably got some effect. Something supernatural. Other than that, like, you're this close to him, he's definitely a human, or at least in a human disguise. You don't see any point to his ears or any of that. He's got something hanging from around his neck, but you can't see what because it goes under his coat. He's actually wearing a pretty modern outfit by comparison to a lot of the mages you've met. Like, it's hard to tell from the token down there, but that's not like a robe. Like, that's straight up he's wearing a coat, like a winter coat. It's almost like a, you know, super reinforced hoodie. And sitting on the table next to him, he's got what are they called? Like the wool hats that have the little flaps over your ears. He's got one of those.
The deerstalkers?
Yeah, he's got one of those. And then down at his feet, you notice that he has a duffel bag. And on the duffel bag, like, because you rolled a 20, you can actually see this, but this would have been really hard to do otherwise. So like a worn leather duffel, you know how the leather cracks in places, and like over time it just sort of all looks like you crumpled up a newspaper almost in terms of texture. This one has a bunch of those cracks on it, but since you're paying attention, you can see that among all the cracks on it, there's some more deliberate indentions, and you suspect that it might actually have some runes or sigils carved into it, implying that there's something going on with this bag. They're actually kind of similar, now that you think about it, to the orientation of the stickers on the box that Kwaku carries around. So, got a decent guess as to how that bag works.
Cool.
But yeah, he's just hanging out there. Okay, so you're going back to the table. Kwaku is going to go back to the table, consume his...
Eat his bucket of chili.
His giant cauldron of chili. Gunter's going to go back to the bar, continue about his job. What does Penelope want to do?
She's gonna finish watching, or gonna stop watching this game. Head back over to the table because she's got an important date with some ice cream.
Highly respectable choice.
Okay.
Whoosh. Okay, so you're settled in down there. At this point, I presume everyone's actually just going to eat for a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. You've had a very long day. Like, you all met today.
Yeah.
This all happened in the last 6 or 7 hours.
God.
Just a general note for the way this game's going to work. I know that for, like, you know, official D&D rules, like, a long rest is, like, an 8-hour sleep, and a short rest is, like, half an hour, or something. We're going to play a little more loose with that, because if events are happening quickly, it would really, really suck if, like, you used up your spell slots, and then we had 5 sessions before you got to sleep. So we're going to be a little more flexible with that. I'm not going to establish a hard, like, it has to be this many hours thing. It'll just whatever makes narrative sense. If you had a long time to rest, like on a long bus ride, versus, you know, like overnight is obviously always going to be a long rest. A sufficiently long transit where you're not the one driving or doing anything stressful could also count. And short rests could be, you know, a short bus ride or whatever. That's fine. You're just not on your feet.
Right.
So, I'm also not going to hold to the you only get one long rest a day thing, because I don't think that most narratives can really survive doing that in a modern setting where you can just get to another country in a few hours.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
And sometimes you just gotta snooze.
sometimes it's just helpful to sleep. Yeah, so okay, so you get back, you continue on eating. The table next to you, they're still talking, so I'm not going to make you roll more perceptions because you both rolled plenty of those. Yeah, so overhearing them, one of the guys, the one in the top right who was reassuring the one in the top left before in German, is trying to change the subject to calm the other guy down, but he's apparently not doing a great job. So, like, in German, he says that you really don't have to worry about the ghost. Like, you should be way more afraid of, like, the animals and the wildlife. They say they've been seeing giant animals around here, like packs of wolves, some big, creepy, you know, chupacabra things. And chupacabra doesn't have a German word, so you all hear chupacabra. All kinds of stuff. Like, that's way scarier than ghost, right? And he's like, you are not making this any better. He's like, well, you're fine. You're not going in the woods. You're going to stay over there on the other side with us. He's like, yeah, I am. Ugh. Why do people work out here? And he's like, because the money's really good. Yeah, it is. Ugh. No wonder the guy who's been here the longest went crazy and turned into a cowboy. So yeah, like, you can piece together as he continues to list off the other kinds of weird animals and things seen out here. Like, some of them are believable, like, oh, a giant bear, or, you know, a pack of wolves, or, you know, some of the things you see on the wall, like, most of them kind of make sense for this area. But then some other stuff in there is just completely ridiculous. Like, references to seeing, you know, like, a Bigfoot or a Yeti, you know, which he sees as two different creatures. Or maybe there's a big monster living in the river. Who knows? There's all kinds of stuff. People come out here and investigate these things all the time. Maybe the American guy over there is here to find the Mothman. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And then he asked him what the Mothman is and proceeds to tell him in German what the Mothman is. So, like, as far as Penelope is concerned, she's sitting there and she hears a bunch of German while she's eating her ice cream, and occasionally, blah, 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 chupacabra, blah, 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 Mothman, blah, 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 blah.
They're talking about Mothman. This is great.
Well, they're talking about all of the beasts that have supposedly been sighted in the woods. I
Oh,
wouldn't think that the Mothman, isn't that a thing from America?
it is.
Wouldn't think that the Mothman would be around here, but I guess you never know.
Mothman could travel.
He does have wings, I assume.
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point in time, I suspect that if anything does exist, it's probably not where people are looking for it, or they would have found it by now.
That's fair. These haunted woods are probably a pretty good place for cryptids.
And ghosts.
That is a bit interesting, yes.
I know he said to wait until daylight. How dangerous do you think it is to check it out at night?
Hard to say. It is also snowing.
Ooh, yeah, no bueno.
It may still be snowing in the morning, but at least it will be daylight.
Yeah. Let's wait until the morning.
It's probably a good idea.
Said it's a good idea.
I do wonder about these poltergeists, though. I do kind of want to see if we can find them, but I also don't want to go out in the snow.
Yeah. And who knows? They may just show up in the middle of the night room. Poltergeists do that, I guess.
I mean, it's the guy moved. The guy's moving towards us. No, okay. Oh,
No.
yes.
I need an adult.
The cowboy man did say they don't tend to show up here, so I think we're safe.
You're just gonna start rattling the bed all the night. Woo!
I mean, anything is possible, I suppose. Can we help you, sir?
Oh, hey there. Yeah, I was actually, fancy that. I was sitting over there at the bar, and I happened to notice two beautiful ladies and a guy I know from work sitting over here, and I decided to come visit. So how are you doing, old buddy code spinner?
Lauren is face down in the floor laughing.
Ooh, sorry.
So I don't mean to intrude, but I believe I overheard you talking about poltergeists. I happen to know a bit about those if you'd be interested in hearing something or two.
I would actually. I'm quite fond of ghost stories.
Oh, the stories are much better than the real thing.
Are you alright?
Okay, no, I have to. Okay. The problem right now is I'm wanting to react as Lauren reacting to the bed.
Right.
And that is not gonna work. Anyway, sorry.
This is gonna be another one of those situations where I'm like, oh yay, and you're like, oh no, right?
I don't know.
Okay. To be fair, I didn't know that Anise was quite fond of ghost stories and ghosts in general until just now, so.
Hey.
Hey!
That is how characters are built. Yeah, so I have a feeling we're probably all here for work. And as such,
I mean,
maybe...
I'm not.
What do you do out of curiosity? I don't think I've ever seen you before. Wait, no, I think I recognize you. Hold on.
Oh, do you?
Hold on.
Penelope's just like got her chin or her chin in her hands and has her elbows on the table like, oh really?
Do you play music?
I do.
Do you play music on the stage in a
I
place
do.
where people might be upset about seeing some of your features on display?
Oh. Perhaps.
He then sort of scratches behind one of his ears.
She's just like, I don't know, just like, kind of like, just kind of leans onto her hand, like, covering one of her ears, like, no, oh no.
Because personally, I think that's hilarious. It
Thank you.
really, really pisses off the churchy types, and that's good in my book because they don't like me.
Oh dear.
But regardless, I do think I've seen you before. So you're probably not here for work, but I would wager that if you're traveling with this here fella, he's here for work. And there's only really one reason for any of us to be up here. And that involves heading off into the woods and getting to the other side. So maybe that's not the best conversation to have down here at the table. But if any of you would like to know a little bit more, I'll be in the first room upstairs.
Okie dokie.
See you later, Code Spinner. And he actually does move pretty quick. Like, not that quick, but he briefly stops by here, grabs his bag from under the stool. He never actually got food. Unfortunate. Then he heads this way and up the stairs.
His accent is like some odd combination of like Canadian and Wisconsin and Kermit the Frog, and
Yes,
I'm here for
that
it.
is the goal.
Yeah. Don't you know?
I'm just like, oh
Kermit the
no.
Frog here.
Hello, I am
Kermit the Frog here, practicing necromancy for the Mages Association.
God.
You see, we specialize in taking Muppets and getting them back up after they get put down.
Oh boy.
But no, his entire job was to be the last voice you expect to come out of a necromancer, and he is doing it.
That is beautiful.
I'm just slowly eating my sundae. Like, do you know anything about that strange man with the strange accent?
Yes,
Suddenly recognized
yes,
you.
that's definitely who I thought it was. He is the one that I mentioned who does work for the association. It's still very strange that he's here, but him going out at night does make a bit more sense now if there actually are poltergeists in the area. I would wager he might be here to put a stop to that because, well, provable ghosts are a problem. So
Yeah.
he could actually just be here on cleanup duty, although I'm more worried that he would be necessary because the people who live nearby that will be visiting, it is known that their forest is haunted, but nothing leaves. It should be held in place so that this kind of issue doesn't happen. So if anything is getting out, then they may have bigger problems than we realize, and it might be related to why your friend needs help.
Oh.
Perhaps, yes. I'm not going to his room alone.
No, should you? He's still a mage.
Yes, fair.
They're not a trustworthy people. Well, I guess once we run out of Yeehaw chili, he is not at all consuming the stuff. He's sort of whirling it around with the spoon.
You didn't pay a lot for that.
No, I bought a story. It just came with what I assume was once a mammal.
Penelope slides one of her plates over to him and is just like, you don't have to eat the chili.
I appreciate your hospitality.
Just like
And he absolutely takes the tray and starts eating. This is pretty good.
Isn't it? I took like one bite of it. Sorry for the germs.
I am not worried. I'm confident that anything that I could possibly catch could be taken care of with a chaser from this chili. It is very spicy. I fear for really anyone who can actually finish this bowl. They beyond salvation.
Penelope takes a spoon and just like takes a bite of it.
Okay. You get to roll a Constitution save.
Against her better judgment, Anise will also roll a take a bite and roll Constitution.
Well, I'm fearful of Anise.
Nice.
You should be.
Both of you passed, by the way. This isn't like poison. It's not that high. But yeah, it definitely has a kick to it. It kind of reminds Anise of way back in like the earlier druid days of learning which peppers to eat and how to prepare them. Of one of the first lessons from her teachers, which is identifying when you've made a mistake so that you can address it accordingly. And this is definitely, there's a lot of kick to it, but it's definitely edible. Like you won't, get sick or die from it, but it's hot. It was mostly if anyone rolled like a 1 to 3, then they would have an issue.
It's quite spicy. I feel it was made by someone that doesn't understand how to properly spice things.
I got the impression just from the smell of it causing my eyes to water that he's of the mindset that things become better if they are hotter and not if they have flavor.
Gonna eat my mac and cheese to kill the burn.
This is probably a good idea.
Penelope just starts chugging water.
Okay. As Penelope is chugging water, Penelope hears the older guy from the pool table shouting angrily in German that he and the younger guy who was all mousy before is absolutely picking up the pot and putting it in his pocket.
Oh my god.
So, beyond that, like, nothing too eventful happens down here. At one point, just because this never happens in RPGs, I'm just going to say it now, a character actually goes to the bathroom. We did it. We got there. Breaking barriers. And it wasn't to, like, communicate with spiders or to figure out how to, send an illusion of a photo selfie. It was actually going to the bathroom. You did it. We got there. I made bathrooms on this map. They will be used.
So at this point, Yeehaw Chili was standing. We're all done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now that they've wrapped up, they're coming back down here. Comedy has ensued.
Gee.
All right.
Perception check.
What are you perceiving for?
I don't know. Are they saying anything as they approach?
Oh, you're listening in again?
Yeah. Oh no, this is gonna go poorly because I can't speak German. Oh yeah.
I mean, they're not that far away, and they're not being quiet. The older one is clearly angry, but honoring the results. The younger one is smirking, and the guy who'd been reading a newspaper before just rolls his eyes like he knew this was going to happen. You can pick up that without actually understanding the language.
Yay.
In fact, the young guy does notice that you were watching, and he winks at you.
I wink back.
He gets up and he walks over.
Oh no! And me.
And he says something to you in German. Anise knows that he's asking if you play.
He's asking if you play billiards, I assume.
Nope.
She says no.
All right, he starts speaking in English to you now. His English is a bit more broken. It's more like, someone who's still studying it, maybe in school. But he does speak to you, and he goes, I could show you.
Do we have time? Like, we're supposed to go meet the dude.
It's up to you.
Sure.
All right.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Over to the pool table. All right, so
So we'll go to.
so this guy has got like, 2 feet on you. So he hands you like the full-size pool stick and realizes when you get up exactly how tall you are. He's like, huh. Do you need help? Noticing that you're not quite over the table.
I'm fine. Don't worry. Is there?
Kwaku walks over and grabs the stool that the American was sitting on and moves it over here.
Okay, she
Set you up. There you go. Now that you're on the stool, you can see over the table and you can see it. The guy goes and he racks up the pool balls in a little triangle, hands you the stick, and he starts explaining to you the basics of how to play pool. Like in the case of this one, he's teaching you how to play with, one of you is solid and one of you is stripe, and your goal is to knock in the balls and increasing number order, but not knocking the 8-1 and then knocking the 8-1 last. So he's explaining you the basic rules. And then he asked if you want to be the one to break. So, he sets up the cue ball for you on your end so that you can knock it through. And you've got the stick. And he asked if you've ever seen someone or know how to hold it.
Sure, I do. And she's like, holding it with both hands, like, but kind of like you would hold a like a bug net.
Okay, so like you're gonna get like a baseball bat or something.
Yeah.
No, not quite like that. And then he very much gets behind you and leans over you to position it properly in your hands. He is all up in your space.
Ooh. Like, do you mind taking like 2 steps back?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
He takes 1 step back.
Ugh. All right. What would she roll to hit a ball? Well, what
because I'm a nerd, I actually made rules for this.
Oh no.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with the simple version of it. It's just a straight dexterity check. You're not proficient with a pool stick, so.
Nope. Where are you, Dex? There you are. Boop. That do anything? No.
I don't see it.
What?
Did you click on the little C button next to dexterity?
The what?
Let me
The
see
button?
the interface just to make sure.
I rolled a dex save. My bad. Hold on.
Oh.
Oh. I'm glad that one went through because the other one was bad.
Nice. That's really okay. So, having just told him you don't know how to play, and him getting up in your business showing you how to hold the pool stick, you pop the cue ball. It goes forward. It breaks the the triangle of 15, and 4 of the balls of your type go in the middle 2 and the right 2 pockets, right up at the front. And he stares down at you instantly, and he goes, "Nope, I know this game. I'm good." Goes back to the table. I think that means you win.
He didn't want to smack some balls around.
I think he did, but I think he realized he did not have the largest ones.
Oh well. Chops down off the stool.
Kwaku takes the stool back. He's a gentleman.
So,
Thank you.
we're over here. Do we want to head upstairs?
Might as well.
Okay.
Onward.
Oh, hi, Canada man.
Canada man.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Romancer, don't you know?
I'll
was a
raise the
ter-
dead.
Raise the dead.
All right.
I'll knock the G off of a graveyard and make it a raveyard, don't you know?
That's how you do the dancing. It's how you get all the kids at the convention to go to sleep eventually.
That's what you think.
At the raveyard.
Ooh.
Okie dokie. Now we're just going to move all of you guys up over here. So, whoop. You're all supposed to go, not just you.
Hey. It's over here.
Hmm?
I am bad at selecting tokens, apparently. Serves me right.
I didn't even think to zoom out.
I mean, it wasn't visible for you before.
Oh.
So,
Oh, damn it.
I'm just going to drag you over manually.
Oh no!
You don't have to do it. I'll get them.
Why, hello.
Hello. Join me on the stage where we're going to yodel.
Oh no, I'm stuck in the wall.
Yeah, you might not be able to walk through the... For some reason, the wall of the building is impossible for you to walk through. It's just teleport you over here.
Through the door. Aha.
Whoop.
I'm outside and oh, whoop, won't.
And
We teleported.
let's just simplify this. Zoom you in. All right, so you can see the downstairs below you there, and there are on the stairs 4 doors, and each one has an animal. Doot, doot. Big surprise, he's in the one that has a boar. You know that.
What? Oh. Perception check. Are they real?
Go for it. I think this might be a nature check. I don't know. I've never rolled for identify
Nature
taxidermy. Like, technically it's like an appraise check, but we don't have that stat anymore.
17.
These are not real. None of these are
good.
real animals. In fact, pretty much everything in this entire establishment is fake, with the exception of maybe that anvil sitting down there next to the fireplace.
Oh, jeez. Alright, so I guess we just go knock on his door. Hello.
All right.
Penelope knocks on the door. There we
Door is opened. Doodle-doo.
go.
That's what you get.
Aw. Look at that funky bread, or bedspread.
Yeah.
Look at that funky bread.
Funky bread. Like, now that we've got the general sense of what these things look like, I'm gonna unmap a lot more of this, just to make it easier for you to walk. So there you go.
Hooray.
Big surprise.
Whoa.
You're upstairs now.
Oh my gosh.
So I think I've cleared off enough of this that you can walk around through normal boxes, but just in case, just make sure. Yeah.
I'm uncomfortably close to Anise.
I jump out the window. No.
Ah.
All right, so here you are. He's opened the door. Oh, hey, come on in. We're going to have a little bit of a chat, I think. Don't mind the boar. I don't know why it's there either. Because there's one in the room, and it's awkwardly staring at the bed.
That's gonna make for some awkward moments at night.
Okay, so Kwaku closes the door behind him. And when he does, the necromancer guy um, sits down on the chair in the corner. It's very clear from like his positioning in this room that like all three of you could leave at any time. He's not blocking the way, so he's at least aware of trying to be chill about this. Okay, much better. I don't think the locals downstairs are really going to listen in, but you can never be too careful, and you really don't want to, you know, have everybody find out about all this nonsense, and then we have to take care of it. So, simply put, I am here because we've had a lot of accounts of ghosts, and normally the Einsburns keep their house clean, but no one's seen any of them for a bit, and we're a bit concerned that their bounded field might be falling apart, which would be letting all the creepy ghosty things that they keep in it wander outside. I got here a few days ago, and when I did, I definitely encountered a specter or two. So I've been going around and setting up my own wards around this area to try to keep them out. I tried to go into the forest and maybe fix their bounded field, or at least find one of them to fix it, since presumably they'd be better at it. But every time I walk in, I find myself back here. I don't know if you need an invitation or what, but I couldn't get through. So here I am sitting downstairs, considering the best way that I can phrase this to management that hopefully doesn't involve them deciding that this area is beyond salvage and doing something bad to it, when I see three of you come in. And that presents us with an opportunity. Since you're hanging out with Kwaku over there, and Kwaku is a known expert in making mystic codes and tuning them and making them a little bit better, there's a chance that maybe the three of you could look into this and solve this bounded field problem before I have to tell management. And if you could do that, then I can focus on keeping the ghost out before anybody gets hurt. Now, I don't know why you're all here, but you wouldn't come up here if you didn't have business with the Ironsburn, so I have a feeling you're going in that direction anyway.
Gonna roll an insight check.
Go for it. Solid, yeah. All right. So, yeah, he seems to be pretty matter-of-fact about this. This is business. It looks like everything that he's saying makes sense. You kind of get the impression that he has a bit more of an idea of that you're here for something unrelated to the ghost problem, but he doesn't really care. This is not his problem. Like, you've encountered this from mages before. Like, most mages are caught up in their own world and their own goals, and they don't really care what anyone else is doing. So for him to be up here instead of presumably, you know, retrieving mystic codes or retrieving crest for people is weird. Like, that's not really his thing. He would only really be called up here if someone in the association decided that these ghosts were a big problem and for whatever reason cared. So he seems to just want to take care of this and move on. Like, this isn't really his fight, and he would be perfectly happy if these other people would take care of his problem for him so that he could just do his due diligence and leave. That said, like, he does seem to be legitimately trying to be friendly with you. He's not putting on an act there. He seems to be one of the suspiciously warm personalities in spite of everything else you know about him. So, but it does feel sincere. He doesn't seem to be bullshitting you because he thinks it's buttering you up. That's just apparently who he is.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm here to make a delivery to the Einsburns, I assume. And if repairing this bounded field or repelling the ghosts would help in any way for me to complete my delivery, I suppose I can cooperate.
that would be most appreciated. In fact, if the lot of you were expecting to deal with ghosts, then I can help you out a little bit too. I'm going to be taxing my own resources to keep them out from up here before anybody notices them, but I could maybe give you a trinket or two to make this a little bit easier on your end, because something tells me, like, from what I know about your musical career, you're more likely in the bardic schools than the ghost busting business. And I'm guessing from the staff and the general aesthetic that you're more druidic. Neither one of those are really geared towards fighting the ghost and the undeads. So Kwaku can take care of himself or build something to do that. I'm not worried about him. But for the two of you, I'll give each of you one of these. And he actually takes those earrings off and he hands them to you. You don't have to wear them. That'd be gross. But if you have them on you, they might make it a bit easier to take care of the ghosts that are messing with you. So just keep it in your pocket or something. But don't lose it. I would miss it. They are a pair.
What are they?
These things?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, are you familiar with, mythological creatures much? Like, real phantasmal species kind of things?
I am.
Oh, good. So then you're probably aware of, what a basilisk is.
I mean, probably.
Just think of it like a big lizard that if it stares at you, you turn into a rock. Well, funny thing, if a big lizard stares at a ghost, the ghost doesn't turn into a rock, but definitely makes it a little bit more solid than it should be, and that's enough to hit it and hurt it. So these are fangs from a basilisk. It's a little one though, like an itty bitty one. And if you've got them on you, then it's not too hard for you to hit a ghost and it actually feel it.
Oh my god, we can punch ghosts.
I find them pretty helpful, but the kinds of things that are getting up here are not the kind of things I really want to punch. I've got other magic for that, but two of you might benefit a little bit more from this. Just bring them back to me when you're done, because I don't think I have to tell you how rare basilisks are, and I would really hate to lose them. If I'm being honest, my daughter made these, and I would be a terrible father if I lost them. So don't go dying off in the woods either.
Oh my god, do you have a picture of your daughter?
I try not to carry pictures of my family given the business that I'm in, but she is adorable.
Hoping for a Mace Hughes situation.
Hoping for a what? Oh, a Mace Hughes situation? No, that would be really funny, but unfortunately mages don't really want you to know what their family looks like.
For good reason.
Unless you're like Father of the Year Tokiomi Tosaka. It's not really how you want that to go. Oh, he's awful. They're all awful. Mages are terrible. But yeah, since you still had that good insight from before, this dude absolutely loves his daughter. So,
excellent.
Like, he clearly was not super comfortable with this, but he also acknowledges that, like, people who aren't really trained to fight ghosts and apparitions are probably gonna die, and he's not just gonna send you out to die when you're doing an errand for him. So
Would this possibly be a good stopping point? It is getting...
Yeah, this is going to be as far as we go for right now. So cool. I was going to let each of you go to your rooms just so you can see what your rooms look like, and then we'll stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's about all he had to say to you. So, hey.
Before we leave, though, sir.
Yes.
We don't know your name.
Oh, yeah, I am so rude. I am so sorry. I'm known in the mage circles as the Bone Settler on account of I help the bones settle. Some people call me BS, and I take offense to that, but I'm trying to take it back, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
So, do we call you Mr. Bone or Mr. Settler? Or like.
You know what? I'm trusting you with my daughter's earrings. You can just call me Crosby.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm Penelope, by the way.
I am Anise.
He's pleased to meet the both of you. Also, it's nice to see you again, Kwaku. You might not remember me. I think we met up at the same party. You were talking about some cool story thing, and I was drunk. But, you know, it's good to see you're keeping up. Indeed. You were very drunk. I now tell stories about how drunk you were. Well, it's good to be remembered. So, given all that, I would definitely recommend heading out in the morning. You really don't want to deal with the ghost at night. Some of them are that much meaner. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go make the rounds and reinforce my own little bounded field to hopefully keep things off of the other residents, since I think this one's probably safe with all of us here, but the one that all of those people downstairs are going back to is more in danger. So good luck, everyone, and get some rest.
Woo.
I suppose we should all go to our rooms.
Yay.
I think I was this one.
I've got.
Yep.
No.
He waits
Yeah,
for
you
all
went
of you
to
to leave
the
before locking his door, but yeah.
I think
No, Kwaku was the bear. You were the stag. I must be this one.
the boar.
You're the wolf.
Wolf. The wolf.
All right, and because that lets us see all of the maps, I can just reveal the damn things now. Bam.
Oh, look, it's rooms. Is that a hot tub?
Yeah, sure. Look, they didn't actually have bathtubs, so I decided to just use the water barrel thing as a stand-in. But yeah, they could be hot tubs. I'm fine for that. That's more fun. The Wild West hot tub is amazing. Just go with that. But yes, also this does mean that in each of the rooms there is a big fake stuffed animal staring down at you while you sleep.
Oh. Penelope goes next door and knocks on the door. Anise,
Yes.
do you have one of the animals on your wall too?
Yes. I've put my coat over it so that it can't stare at me.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Okay, so you
No,
see a
no.
coat hanging over part of a wolf sticking out of the wall.
They're not real. They're very clearly fake, but it's still a little creepy. In fact, I think that might make it creepier.
Ugh.
Anyway, good night.
Oh, okay. Wait. Oh,
Yes.
did you see the hot tub?
Generous of you to call it a hot tub, but yes.
What?
Anyway, good night.
Okay, good night. She just walks down the hall to Kwaku's door.
No.
Knocks on the door. Kwaku?
Are the walls thin enough that I can hear this going on?
Yeah, sure, that's more fun. We'll say that. If you want to hear through a wall, just roll a perception check, and if you get at least a 10, we'll say you do. That's the most fun way to do it. Yep, you can hear everything. Yes, are you okay? Is there a ghost or something?
No, do you also have one of the creepy animals on your wall?
I have a bear staring at me as I sleep.
Yeah, no.
I have a plan for not worrying about the bear, though.
Okay.
Let me show you my plan.
Okay. Oh.
He lets wraps out and wraps. Keep an eye on that bear, just in case. And it stands under the bear, and if it had eyes, it would be staring directly at the bear.
Oh. Okay, I guess as long as you're safe. Did
I
you see
don't
the
think the bear is going to come after me on account of it not having arms and legs, but you can never be too careful when there are ghosts, you know?
That's true. Did you see the hot tub?
I did, actually. It looks rather nice.
I
I did
said
not
it was.
expect that.
She said it wasn't that good of a hot tub.
Anise is used to better.
I assume, as a Londonite, she has to look down on the entire continent.
Oh
So
no.
that could just be her. Alternatively, as a druid, maybe she grew up in hot springs and waterfalls. I don't know. She could just have impossibly high standards. As someone who literally grew up under a waterfall, this looks amazing.
Okay. Cool. Alright, good night.
Good night. Stay safe.
What Anise really meant was generous to call it a hot tub, as in she's used to like literally boiling herself.
That is fun and fair.
Penelope goes back to her room and is just like, oh god, I don't think I have anything I can throw over this thing so that it doesn't stare at me at night. Oh god. And she just like rips the entire comforter off of the bed and like chucks it at the stag. And then gets in bed.
That's fair.
But also she's like having a time getting up into this bed.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at least you don't have to worry about the giant comforter anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Very nice. Okay. We're definitely coming up on the easiest resting point.
Oh yeah.
So good times. Yep. So I think that gives us a goal. We know where you're going. We know more or less what you've got to do. You've met some more NPCs. No one's attacked you. That's always fun.
And Cowboy Andy.
It's true. You've got it. We have a wider variety of NPCs now than we did before.
That's true. Ugh.
Okay. Given that, yeah, as everyone is going to sleep, at this point, it gets dark. Everyone's resting. Who just rolled a 20 and why? Did you just roll a nat 20 for funsies?
But it showed up as an 8.
Oh, you rolled an 8. It looked like a 20 on my screen. What were you rolling at for?
I just felt like it.
Oh, okay.
I'm rolling a whole bunch of dice, but not in the chat.
That is fair. Okay, well, in that case, because you rolled an 8, this is what stares at you. Enjoy. Welcome to the world of moosewall.jpg.
Well, guess what?
Ah. That's a lot of mooses.
I'm being good in rolling them off screen, or not off screen, but not rolling them in the chat.
Outside of game, yeah.
JPEG.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, since we are...
Hey, I rolled an 8 too.
Since we are wrapping up, I will... Oh, I can do that now. This is cool. So, watch this. I'm going to close your moose picture now.
Goodbye, Moosewall.
Yep. So, because it is sufficiently late, and even darker. There you go.
Whoa!
Extra nighttime.
Oh, bonus nighttime.
Yeah, so it's gotten a bit dark. You're laying back. Your moose has been staring at you.
Penelope is not sleeping right now.
The moose has the comforter over it, though.
It's true. There's a comforter over the moose.
Cool. Then never mind. She's passed out.
Awesome.
If the comforter had fallen, like she would have just been like, no.
That's fair. Yeah, as you're lying down, is the final thing that you hear is your comforter falling off of the moose. And when it does, you see this. And now we're done. You okay over there?
I'm fine. That actually scared the crap out of me.
It's only Penelope that sees it.
Yep. And that'll be where we pick up next time. So yay, we did it, and we stopped literal minutes before midnight this time. So we did it. We explored. Next session, you actually get to do stuff beyond just exploring a saloon, but we are making some progress.
Yay!
So, for anyone who's watching these on YouTube or Twitch replays or whatever, thank you for sticking around with us. We hope you had fun. As you can see, we're a bit more of an explore and mystery game than a go fight 5 things a session game. So if that's your style and your speed, just consider this like the first 4 episodes of every Fate where like nothing happens, but world
We
setup.
haven't started circling around someone.
It's true. I guess you'll have to maybe gang up on Gunter and then explain to him the ethics of humanity. Really confuse that poor cowboy. But thanks for everyone for listening. Thanks to everyone for playing, and we will pick this up in a week. Hooray!